Hey, what's up? All right, so we are listening to Bad Fat Black Girl by Cecily Bowen. We're gonna do chapter 8 and probably 9. And we're gonna listen to them. The first chapter is I don't want to say it right in the beginning of the stream because they have a, um, a censor situation, but we had a good time reading this book last time, and we love the way Cecily writes. And so, hey, how are you? I went on a date earlier, so I look cute. Do you ever drop the link? What link? Hey, Ty. Hey, Naira. The StreamYard link. Hmm. I don't know what that is. What you to what StreamYard link? I'm trans and would love to have you on the show. Oh. I don't know. I don't know who you are. Send me an email and we can talk. Send me like some information about your show. I'm not being pretentious. It's just some people be wanting me on a show and then they'll bombard me with stuff that I'm like, what? Why am I here? So just send me some links like to your show and I'll listen to it and that kind of stuff. Yeah, just email me and send me on I found you on T.S. Madison's show. Was I on T.S. Madison's show? I don't remember being on there. It's Diamond Styles at Gmail. Was I on there? I don't remember being on Madison's show. Hey, Bran, how are you? No problem. Nice to meet you. All right. How y'all been doing? How y'all feeling? It's really cold in Houston. That's why I have on this honey. I got this sweater at where did I get this sweater? Where did I get this sweater? I think I got this sweater at Nordstrom Rack, and it reminded me of the 80s. And so I was like, ooh, I'm gonna get this sweater. This is my sickening. Hey Jay. We're gonna get started in a couple of minutes. How y'all doing on this Thursday? I've had an interesting Thursday. I went to I went to I have a oh what's going on with this? Oh, that's what this is. I have had a little situation. I had this guy that I've been talking to for decades. Like this is somebody from my high school. And y'all know how recently there's because of the internet, there's been like these gender war type of conversations happening. And in recent years, particularly in these Trump years, I don't know if y'all noticed, but it is kind of like it just has made men, not all of them, but it just has made men worse. Like it's something about the conversations that has been the discourse that has been bubbling up in the past 5 years. Yeah, post COVID. It started pre COVID, but definitely post COVID when after everybody was kind of in the house and it just is something motherfuckers got podcast mics. And it just has inspired some of the worst parts of men to come out of them, the worst side of men to come out of them. And so there's been these conversations that this guy has been having. Now, some history with us is I'm his first queer experience. He's had other queer experience, but I'm his first, and we are the longest lasting situationship. Um, and we talk about shit more than like just sex. We because we've been knowing each other for so long, we have been in each other's life for a very long time. So we it's just more it's more than just hooking up. Let me just say that. So we just been friends for a very long time, and we've gone through stuff with each other for decades at this point. And so he keeps sometimes he'll have these statuses that trigger me. That's very either misogynistic or fat phobic or just really fucking weird conversations that feel very, very either misogynistic, fat phobic, or very just judgmental in general. And so, because we have our history, sometimes I'm the type of person that if you're my friend, now if I don't know you, I don't give a fuck. But if I consider you a friend, I feel it's my job to teach you. Same way I feel about, you know how we be telling white people, you need to gather your people. Like black people don't need to be doing the labor around racism, teaching everybody about racism. Trans people don't need to do the labor teaching everybody about trans people. If you see your transphobic friend being fucking weird, if you've learned from trans people, it's your job to do the labor to get your fucking friend. I'm somebody that believes that. And so if I see a light skinned person being weird and colorist, it's my job to check them. I feel like it's my job to check them because I don't feel like a dark skinned person should be always doing the labor of checking people. And so I feel like that about multiple things, especially if I have overcome certain things or if I've learned about certain things or if I have shifted around certain things, how do I get people over here? You know what I'm saying? Oh, to do better and be better to people. So he's one of them dudes who, if it was somebody else, I don't really care. But you're my friend, so you're not gonna be out here embarrassing me like you don't know stuff. And so one of the incidents he was talking about the soft life and being real misogynistic about women who are kind of trying to do this soft life thing. So I have a conversation about that. So multiple conversations we've had sparked on his statuses. Now, like I said, there's some really judgmental ones. If you're listening, make sure you thumbs up. If you are returning, if you are new here and you like the conversation, thumbs up too. Um, so he will have these weird ass conversations. And so I would slide in his inbox and check him. And I would check him in the sense of I would check him in the sense of, I'm having the courtesy, not in on the in the like in the comments. It's I'm sliding in your DMs, private conversations, and we can go back and forth and I can cuss you out and we can do all this kind of stuff. And you know, and it'll be something that we will just kind of go back and forth. And sometimes because we have this more intimate relationship, he'll call me and we'll be going off, going back and forth, da, 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 da. And then at the end of the conversation, we go back to normal because we are friends. You feel what I'm saying? So today he put up this post about um about people who get weight loss surgery and people who do like the weight loss medication, and he talked about how they're capping about their journey in weight loss and how y'all took the easy way out, and just this really judgy um take on weight loss surgery. I think it's stupid, but because I've had weight loss surgery and I feel like you being hypocritical, this is triggering me. This is pissing me off, especially when I have had these deeper conversations with you. And so, as many times as I have spared him, today I decided not to spare him and, post a whole read of him because you are one of the most fakest. When you talk about capping, I feel like you one of the most fakest motherfuckers. You being a deal, especially coming off this conversation with Cherry and exposing DL niggas. And today just was not my day to be holding on to your secrets. And so I just had this conversation. I didn't name names, but I had so many details that you know exactly what I'm talking about, and everybody else do too. And so let me talk about you. Let's talk about you and your capping journey. Since you want to talk about people's weight loss journey, let's talk about your journey. And how, you know, you've been in a closet for decades, and how you hate women, and how you fetishize fat girls. And as soon as they because they have low self-esteem and no confidence, and as soon as they get the surgery and build confidence, you and they lose weight and they start moving different, you you switch up and get to being weird with them, and they leave you. You start cheating or you start doing some crazy shit. You start cheating, and then they lose weight and they leave you, and they go on to be in better relationships, and you bitter about it. You bitter about it. You are bitter about not being able to be open about you being queer, because he will call me, and this is over decades. We've been messing with each other since 17, 18. So he's like 46 now or 45, and I'm like, I'll be 44 at the end of this month in about 2 weeks. And so we've been dealing with each other for a very, very long time. And so you will call me and say stuff like, and complain about how you can't move like women do around homosexuality. We know that there is a double standard in women being queer and men being queer. And so he'll express these kind of negative feelings about that double standard. How like bitches can be out here doing threesomes and da 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 da, but niggas can't do that. And soon as they find out you doing something on the low, you gay. You can't even be bisexual. Like as soon as somebody find out something about me, they gonna think I don't like women at all, and I like everything and da 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 da. And he'll go into all of these things. These whole little nuances about, I don't like niggas, I like trans women, and da 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 da, into all of this into all of this kind of stuff about how he can't be public. Now, this goes back to what I recently talked about on my TikTok about these niggas being oblivious. You are literally talking to a trans woman that you grew up in high school with, seeing her being bullied. You have seen her beat up niggas that try to bully her. You have literally seen me twirl niggas down. So you're talking to a person who's not only had the courage to be themselves from a young age, but also deal with it and thrive. And you are supposed to be the manly man. You are supposed to be the dude that's standing on business. I'm supposed to be the weak one because I wear dresses and makeup and da 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 da. But you out here being the normal cis straight dude, quote unquote, and you can't even stand on your own 2 feet and be 10 toes down on what you like. Ain't that the definition of being a man in this world, to be able to stand 10 toes down in what the fuck you want to do and in your own journey in yourself? Ain't that what you supposed to do as a man? And you out here living a whole fucking lie, capping about your journey in this whole lifetime, about what you want to do, and you complaining to a trans woman who you've been knowing all of our adult life, who has lived this life and dealt with whatever came from the world in regards to me. And you want to sit on my phone and act like you can't be authentic in this world? Talking to me, a person who has fought for their authenticity my whole life, making it seem like you can't do it. Does that make sense to you? That's like that's like me in whatever privilege that I have, and I go talk to somebody who has had success, and they started off way more underprivileged than I am. And I go to them and I say, look, we can't do this. I'm not able to do this. And I'm making all these excuses. And they looking at me like, bitch, I had all these disabilities. I had all of this and da 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 da. And look at me now. You can't sell me them excuses. You can sell the excuses to a motherfucker who ain't been through what I've been through. But I had I had more disadvantages than you. And I'm out here thriving on my own 2 feet. And you want me to hear you complain and relate to you and console you and think that you aren't crazy? No, I'm not gonna let you do that. You're just weak. You are just weak. And today is a day that I'm going to read you because I know you feel special when you make these statuses, and all your friends that don't know you down low are on your statuses being fat phobic and talking crazy about fat people. And it gives you some type of serotonin and dopamine shot to be able to feel special because these niggas is on your status agreeing with you and being fat phobic. I know that you get some kind of pleasure out of that, but today we gonna pop that bubble. Today we gonna pop that bubble because I have spared you long enough, and we're gonna talk about you. We're gonna talk about your journey. Since you want to judge other people's journey and what they have done with their bodies, let's talk about what you have done with your body. Let's talk about your journey. Let's talk about why you still in the closet. And you a grown ass man at 45. Let's talk about your journey. Since you want to judge other people's journey and however they decided to lose weight, you want to talk about however they decide to live the soft life. Oh, you bitches ain't living the soft life and da 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 da. Da. Okay, cool. Well, let's talk about the life that you're living and how it's not real. Let's talk about how you sucking dick every chance that somebody give you to suck a dick. And these people that you're trying to, and there's nothing wrong with sucking dick. It's wrong with you being fake and talking about other people. That's the wrongness. It's not wrong for you to be queer. It's wrong for you to judge other people's life while your life is in shambles. While you're not, it's wrong for you to talk about how people are not being authentic when you are not authentic at all. Let's talk about that. Let's put that out. Since you want to put judgment and everybody else out on the table, Since you want to do that, you want to put judgment on everybody else. Let's talk about your shit. Let's talk about how you're just bitter that your ex-wives have went on to lose weight and be loved by other men and living a better life. I know both of them. I know both of them because I've been dealing with you since I was 17, before you met any of them hoes. I know all the tea that went on with you and them because we have mutual friends, and I know you and I know them. And I know you bitter. And the people that you are trying to impress on the internet, when you were almost homeless, not being able to pay your bills, did them likes and them comments help you? These people that you're trying to shit on fat people for, did they help you? No. I know they didn't because you called me to tell me about it. I know they didn't help you. So it was really, really crazy. I found it to be quite annoying. It just triggered me today. And I normally could just mute and let it go, but I couldn't. I was like, and this is what I was talking about in the videos last week about how sometimes these motherfuckers got audacity. And I've said this, in other scenarios. Sometimes these motherfuckers just got too much audacity and need to be humbled. Like, calm down, bro. Daddy, chill. Yeah, I remember that meme. Daddy, chill. Yeah, you need to calm down. Like, there needs to be a mirror because you're being so hypocritical, and because you're living in this delusion of people don't know what's going on. I need to remind you how hypocritical you are being. I need to turn the camera to you. It doesn't make sense for you um to be that oblivious to your hypocrisy. And if I'm the one, and I have to be the one because I'm the only one who knows this about you, of how ridiculously hypocritical you're being. So I have to be the one. And when I come into your comment sec, when I come into your not comment section, when I come into your inbox, you gaslight me and say that I'm overreacting. Okay. Okay, darling. But I want you to tell me how you feel about your journey. Since you're so concerned about somebody else's journey, let's talk about your journey, your caps. Got it? So I thought that was quite um, frustrating, and some of my high school homegirls who are mutual friends with us slid in my DMs and was like, "Bitch, what?" They was like, when I heard that, my homegirl said, "Honey, the way I screamed reading your post, I knew exactly who you were talking about because I felt the same way. The nerve and unmitigated gall for this nigga to be on here on this app talking about anybody capping. Child, right. So, nigga, Get the fuck out of here. Stop playing in my face. You are in a glass house, darling, with all those stones in your hand. Who you about to throw them at? I'm trying to understand. But all right, we're gonna get into the book. Tell me if y'all can hear it.
Chapter 8. Fuck these niggas.
Period.
I don't want this nigga, baby. Spare me the drama. Saucy Santana. Boy down. Frederick Douglass's first wife, Anna Murray Douglass, was a free black woman when they met and married. Her status kept him inspired to pursue his own freedom, and Anna encouraged him. She took some sailor's clothing from her job so that he could have a disguise, gave him some of the money she saved up, and sent him north so that he too could be relieved from the bondage of slavery. She joined him shortly after and helped set up their household when they settled in Massachusetts. She worked to support the family in their ongoing efforts to help other black folks escape slavery. Fred's glow up as a free man continued as he became a preacher, a prominent abolitionist, then best-selling author once he penned an autobiography. Suddenly, he was traveling the world and rubbing elbows with notable socialites and intellectuals of the time, leaving Anna behind at home. The rumors of Fred's infidelity started circulating not long after. He was suspected of having affairs with at least a couple of white women, one of whom would even live with him and Anna for a couple of months at a time. Despite the role she played in him becoming a prominent figure in Black and American history, Anna is hardly mentioned in any of Fred's autobiographical works. A year after she died, this nigga Fred married Helen Pitts, a white woman who was their neighbor and his employee. When Harriet Tubman escaped from slavery in Dorchester County, Maryland in 1849, she was married to John Tubman, but she left him behind in her own pursuit of freedom. Like Anna Murray Douglass, John was a free black man. However, unlike Anna, John wasn't super supportive of his wife's plan to liberate herself. Clearly, Harriet didn't let that stop her from escaping to Philadelphia, nor did her husband's opinion stop her from making several trips back to their home state in order to free other enslaved family members. On one of those trips in 1851, she planned to find John and bring him back to Philadelphia with her. She even bought him a new suit for the journey. When she sent word to clue him in on her plan, he said no. That nigga John had married another woman named Caroline while Harriet was liberating their people. He said he was happy exactly where he was. The stories of Harriet Tubman and Frederick Douglass are vital to Black history. They tell of our struggles, our resilience, and our victories. But a closer look at the love lives of our ancestors offers historical anecdotes that support another important underlying fact. When it comes to dating and relationships, these niggas ain't shit. Black
Period. Oh, I forgot to tell y'all. So, boom, this is Mithra, or whatever. This is T.S. Madison's fragrance called Everything. Everything by T.S. Madison. See it? Now, it's not bad, but I think I should have got the other one. She has two fragrances. It's not bad. It is. Let me listen to some of the notes. All right, so the top notes is lychee, bergamot, berry, pink pepper, and mint. The middle notes are Turkish rose, nutmeg, ginger, jasmine, patchouli. The base notes are cedar, white musk, and vetiver. Now, what it reminds me of when I don't know if this is intentional, but it reminds me of boy and girl shit. And it may be intentional, but it might not. But it's called Everything, and it's from T.S. Madison. And you know how she feels about her transition. So I don't know if she intentionally made it like boy and girl, but it smells like two things at the same time. It smells like and not unisex in the I guess it is unisex, but it smells like caress. She said it's unisex. Okay, then yes, it smells like a caress beauty bar and Irish Spring soap put together. And I don't know if I like those together. I think the vetiver, the patchouli, and the bergamot, and the mint gives it that those are all kind of like prominent masculine scents. And that's throughout the top, the middle, and the bass note. But then the feminine is going to be the lychee, it's going to be the berry, it's going to be the pink pepper, and the Turkish rose, and then even the white musk. I don't know. It smells like I should have got the other one. The other one just describes sounds like a more of a gourmand. So I might I'm no, I'm not might. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna get the other one because I got so many gourmand fragrances that I didn't want to get another one. So I went ahead and got this one just to see what it gives. But I kind of don't necessarily love this one. It's not bad, but it's not my particular taste because it gives that it's too unisex and um not in the blend that I like. Um yeah, it smells like a Caress beauty bar and Irish Spring soap put together. Like it's like a men's soap and a women's soap that they done put together. So yeah, I don't so if it was intentionally unisex, they did a really, really good job. I don't particularly like that. I do like I do there are some masculine scents that I really, really like that I think are unisex, but yeah, this doesn't how much was the perfume? It was $60. I think it was like $59. Let me check the price. Methra. 65. $65. No, I wouldn't. No, Imma get the other one because I think the other one is more of a gourmand, so Imma try that one out. But this one, no, I regret this one. It just smells like 2 different things put together. It smells like I said, like a Caress beauty bar. Do y'all remember the smell of Caress, like the old beauty bars? That or and like a, Zest or a, Irish Spring. Which one of them has vetiver? Does Irish Spring have vetiver? Yes, Irish Spring has vetiver in the scent. Yes. So yeah, that's why it smells like that. Mm. I mean, it's in the name, everything. Yeah, it's in the name. So if that's the purpose, they definitely um accomplish that. But it's just not something that I like. Um yes. All right. So what Cicely just talked about is she gave you the foolishness that Harriet Tubman experienced with her husband, who she went off to find a way out of slavery. And when she came back to save this clown, he done got remarried and didn't want to go. He wanted to stay in slavery. Um, and then we talk about Frederick Douglass' wife. People don't know that, people know that he married a white woman, but that his who helped establish his career and his popularity, and who helped him in his business and getting what he needed out to the world, was his black wife. And she don't get as much credit as she should.
Black women often receive the short end of the stick. It would be irresponsible of me to share any perspective on romantic relationships and not make that clear up front. I would like to make a quick point of clarification, though. In the context of dating, I tend to use niggas as a gender neutral term that includes cis men, studs, and trans masculine folks who primarily date thems. You can apply a lot of what I'm going to say in this chapter to whomever you date across the gender spectrum. But I think a trap feminist dating framework is especially pertinent if you're dating cis men. Why? Because cis men have set the tone for the toxicity that some of their queer and trans peers embody. Them niggas are the source of a lot of this shit. Toxic masculinity is not simply a heinous trait that only certain men develop because of their trauma or upbringing. The very concept of Western masculinity is inherently toxic because it's built on the premise of domination and control. It gives cisgender, heterosexual men, and sometimes other folks who identify with and perform acceptable masculinity ample opportunity to participate in this toxicity, and they choose to do so because it benefits them. Because toxic masculinity has been so normalized and institutionalized, showing up in everything from healthcare to the justice system, the likelihood that men will face any backlash or consequences is low. This is especially true when their harmfulness is directed toward Black women. In 2020, Black Burn Center, an anti-violence organization in Greensburg, Pennsylvania, published a report noting that over 52% of all Black women had experienced psychological abuse, and over 41% had experienced physical abuse. The report also documented that Black women are nearly 3 times as likely to die at the hands of a man than white women are. The report was even more specific about who was perpetuating these violations. In the overwhelming majority of these cases, 92%, the person who killed them knew their victim. 56% of these homicides were committed by a current or former intimate partner. Nearly all, 92% of these killings, were intraracial, which means they were committed by a Black man against a Black woman. Black women are uniquely exposed to these worst case outcomes. We have not been immune to the impact of anti-Black racism and state-sanctioned violence. We can't trust government officials or programs to act in our best interests.
All right. I want to talk about that, baby. Want to talk about that. So, one second. I think this is a perfect time. Love it, love it, love it. We're going to post this. So that is a database that I was a part of the consulting team that I won my Script Howard Award for, journalism award for. And what she just described is how the disparities around gender-based violence and intimate partner homicide, and what we found in our studies of the trans women's cases from in the 5 years, the all the cases that we found across states, across states and across across the uh, identity, because we did not only trans women, we did trans men, and we did gender fluid, like gender non-binary people. We included everybody. Any case that was even remotely um gender non-conforming, we put it in the database and we gave different nuances in that data. And so make sure you look at that link, make sure you are checking out the numbers and looking at the graphs that we created. And there are multiple nuances that we break down in that report. I want to make sure that when we are talking about transgender people's deaths and we are talking about what's going on with them, that it aligns with the data. So there is people who have always espoused the narrative of us being out here um, deceiving people, us being out here, um, in sex work and being killed by our clients. There are even people in our community are making these points and making these statements and have been making them for years, and they have been wrong. And so this does not mean that there has never been a client that killed a trans woman. That's not true. But when we talk about who dominates the numbers, what she just shared about cis women, because that is the life that we live as Black trans women, um, the numbers are reflecting our cisgender sisters. And so it is usually people who know us that is killing us. It is usually people who knows our tea. It is usually people who we are intimate with. It is usually people who yeah, that's our partners, or you get what I'm saying, are in proximity to us. And it's usually our own race of people. And so do not be deceived by these rare cases of a client killing a killing a woman, or rare cases of, just all these kind of random things that can happen, because nothing is absolute, but usually it is our partners. Another thing that I kind of want to point out in the database, we always things that are obvious if you look at the pictures and you look at the cases that we show you there. Um, it's usually dark skinned Black trans women. It's Black trans women dominate. Um, those are clear, obvious distinctions. But also, two things that I want to kind of point out. If you take, it's usually men who are the harmers, who are the killers. No brainer there. But if you take the cases that were not men who were the killers, where it was a woman that was the killer, predominantly it was a white woman or a Latina woman. So take the men who are the killers out and just look at the cases where there was a female killer of the trans person. It was predominantly a white woman or a Latina woman. It was very rarely, actually none, in the cases in the whole 5 years of the data that we looked at. There was no Black women that killed, Black cis women that killed a trans woman. And if you look at cases that it was not an intimate partner, it was either the parents, family members. So also intimate close proximity. It was family members who killed the trans person. And if it wasn't them, it was cops. If you take trans people who are not women, trans women who were the victims, and just look at trans men, 40% of them were killed by cops on mental health checks. So out of all the cases that were just trans men, most of them were killed by intimate partners, women. But 40%, that's 60%, 40% were killed by cops. Got it. So these are people. So I share all of that because these are people who I forgot this point. Another thing that they found is people who, if you just look at the assailant, the person who did the killing, they were usually under 25. If you look at the people who were convicted, the race of the people who were convicted, even though Black trans women dominate the numbers of victims, if the victim was not Black, you have a higher chance of conviction. So not only are we being murdered at higher rates within our demographic, the people who are getting held accountable for our murders, racism shows up by preferring, if the victim is white, their murderer gets more time. Don't y'all think that's crazy? So I wanted to share all of that information in the context of trans people, even though Cicely was sharing information in the context of cisgender women. And I wanted you to see some of the nuances that we experience and some of the similarities. The similarities is definitely that we are being predominantly murdered by our intimate partners. And usually that partner is intra-community, our own people. And so, yeah, I wanted to share that experience with y'all because this is a part of my expertise. This is a part of my career, my field of study. This is what I do. And so, yeah, so I wanted to share that with y'all. What y'all think? What are your thoughts? Y'all quiet today. What's going on with y'all? Is it late? No, it's not even late. We be up. It's 11 o'clock, child.
We don't want to create more opportunities for members of our community to be harmed by the U.S. penal system. In our efforts to prevent more harm from coming to ourselves, our children, and other loved ones, we end up protecting Black men who've hurt us. This is what happened to Megan Thee Stallion when she was shot by fellow artist Tory Lanez in 2020. On the night of the incident, she wouldn't tell the police or medical professionals how she came by her injuries. She refused to share details of the crime or even name her perpetrator for over a month for fear that it would have made a bad situation even worse. When she finally did name Tory as her shooter, she was met with silence from her industry peers and doubt from internet trolls. Beyond the way that Black women are expected to protect Black men for the good of the culture is something even more insidious. We're also expected to overlook their faults, even be willing to accept those faults for the sake of their affections. We're actually asked to take responsibility for all the ways niggas can be trash. Consider the way Black single mothers, the parents who take on the majority of the responsibility for their children, are ostracized and often blamed for all the ills of the Black community. Their parenting skills and judgment are called into question. They're mocked and written off as unintelligent and amoral. Whenever they're celebrated for being beautiful, happy, successful, or rich, there's always someone rushing to claim that the baby mama lifestyle is being glorified. Black women are written off as bitter and divisive if they publicly acknowledge the widespread sexism in Black communities or share their own experiences with toxic masculinity as reasons for caution or hesitation in dating. They're asked to question their own attributes and the decisions that prevented them from having better experiences. Were they beautiful, strong, submissive, freaky, pious, or respectable enough? Were they forgiving enough? Were they raised by one of those single mothers? If only Black women played their cards right, their true king would present himself. Hashtag Black love can prevail as long as Black women play their parts. Unfortunately, a lot of Black women have bought right into this bullshit. I know way too many Black women for whom "that's why you still single" is an insult of the highest degree. They fall into depression and feel like failures because they're not tethered romantically to someone. On the flip side, I know way too many Black women who think having and being able to keep a man is a flex, even when said man is broke, unreliable, unfaithful, or trifling. Pick Me Twitter is a real place where you can watch Black women pledge their allegiance to men with subtle brags about how much they're willing to cook, clean, fuck, and stay loyal to men who publicly shame the women they think are out of line. They've drunk the Kool-Aid and love the taste of it. Black women have been gaslit into believing in a version of love that requires us to, first and foremost, decenter ourselves. Our love has been equated with a form of martyrdom. It grows stronger the more we suffer and hold niggas down. And somehow that's supposed to be good for all of us. I'm here to tell you, that ain't it, sis. The narrative Beyonce offered us in Lemonade, that on the other side of the worst betrayal of your life is redemption that will make it all worth it, should not be a blueprint for relationships. If anything, it was an epic fantasy saga created by a woman worth nearly $500 million, married to a man worth even more. I love B and her genius, and I'm happy that she got the happily ever after she wanted. But do not fall for the okie doke. Waiting 2 decades for your man to go to therapy so he can properly prioritize you as his partner is just not a good idea. Black women can no longer afford to be martyrs, healers, parents, or scapegoats in our relationships. It's a fucking scam. The stakes are too high. It's costing us our sanity, our livelihoods, and in some cases, our lives. If you experienced a string of break-ins in your neighborhood, would you still leave your doors and windows unlocked just because your property manager or HOA president promised the neighborhood was safe when you moved in? No. So don't ignore the realities of intimate partner violence, romantic terrorism, and all the other ways niggas generally ain't shit, or assume that you'll somehow be the exception to the rule. Accept that they are the way they are and act accordingly. I knew there was hope for us after the hot girl summer of 2019.
All right. So I want to talk about that. So somebody says, I think a lot of this behavior dependent on women having low self-esteem. I don't know. I don't think that that's necessarily true. I think that's in some cases it's true, but I think some people, particularly white women, but we can talk about Black women, but especially white women. I just want to say that. I think that women, some of them, align with the patriarchy because it is this path of least resistance and they can be cared for. I think I heard somebody talking about it recently where women don't really want to dismantle. Some women, when I say women, I'm saying some women. Some women don't really want to dismantle the patriarchy. They just want a benevolent patriarch, meaning they want a patriarch that does all the things that a patriarch does, except not harm them. They don't want to dismantle the system. They want you to take care of all the house, but they want you to pay all the bills like a good patriarch, but they don't want you to be feminine or emotionally. They don't want you crying. They don't want you to do the things that will allow a man to be free from the patriarchy unless it benefits them. And I'm dragging myself though, because there's a part of me that's, I like a patriarch. So this isn't just them. This is some things I had to when I heard that, I had to really think about that, where yeah, and if I could create my perfect life, what would it look like? A faithful, benevolent patriarch. He's taking care of the home. He's coming in. I'm cooking for him. Yeah, I'm thinking about it. That's not dismantling the system and allowing for freedom of myself or allowing for freedom of him. Yeah, I really totally get that. Like I totally understand what that could be like. Mm. So, a benevolent patriarch is a system that gives men authority and dominance over women while appearing to be positive. It's a form of sexism that can be subtle and pervasive, and we can definitely follow um, into that trap. How it sometimes works is separate but equal. The idea that men and women are equal but have different responsibilities, protective paternalism, the expectations that men are responsible for women's safety. Like if you are the type of person that feel like men are responsible for your safety, yeah, it's that same kind of vibe. Complementary gender differences, the idea that women and men have different traits and roles, with women roles generally being lower in status. Heterosexual intimacy, the idea that women complete men in heterosexual relationships, that yin and you think women and men are that yin and yang instead of them being their own yin and yang within themselves, and then this person being their own yin and yang within themselves, and they're coming together. But if you think that it's yin and yang, that is malevolent patriarchy. Like you think that a woman fits this certain way and he fits this certain way instead of them being their own separate entity coming together as a partnership. That would be equal instead of yin and yang. Does that make sense? Um, yin and yang, where this is the yin and this is yang, implies that both of them have missing parts, and coming together makes it perfect, particularly heterosexually. Um, yeah. I mean, what if you don't mind being the mother? It's it's not a problem that you don't mind it. You can do all of that. But know that you are not dismantling the system. You're playing right into the system. Like it's not saying that it's a problem, but don't make it seem like you are down for dismantling the patriarchy when you're actually not. You want to do who fit into the patriarchy. You just don't want the harm that comes with it, even though the patriarchy as a system is bad. They upkeep a system that they want to take down. Yes. I feel dismantling of the patriarchy forces everyone to grow and expand what gender roles are and how they exist, which is a good thing. But humans hate change. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's like I don't think it's necessarily a problem for you to want to be a wife and to have a great husband who is not abusing you, who is not being financially abusive and controlling you through finances. And you know, I don't think it's bad to want that, but you're not changing the system. It's similar to white women who's like, I just want my white king and I just want to be a trad wife and take care of my children and take care of my husband and he go out and da 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 da. But you're not dismantling none of the racism. You're not dismantling anything in the system that dominates this world that harms people. You're not doing anything. I think that I think that's easier to see, but the one that usually is not that's harder to see is usually like capitalism. Like if you're running around moving like capitalist and exploitative, even though you're a black business and you're running around moving like exploitative Amazon and da da da, you're moving like them because you was like, this is how the business goes. You don't want to dismantle the system of capitalism. You just don't want to be the one being exploited. You okay with how it works if you got the key to make the system work for you. If you the one that's making the millions, if you the Jay-Z, if you one of the movers and shakers that's underpaying your workers and getting the higher profit, if you're the one that's saying that's just how business works. My ancestors and my family work hard to get here. That's just how business works. Yeah, but you're not dismantling the system. You're working within the system. And it's inevitable for you to exploit people if you're trying to make a profit in a capitalistic system. It's inevitable. And so you become the problem, and then you start using your blackness as the veneer, as the shield. But I'm black. I deserve my 40 acres and a mule. Captain America. Oh, yes. This is my shield. Tink, tink, tink. But I'm black. Oh my God. I don't deserve nice things. I'm black. Don't I deserve Louis Vuitton? Don't I deserve the trips and all the glamour? Because of slavery, I'm black. Don't I deserve? While you exploit your whole community. You go make these t-shirts or sweaters or merchandise that is not worth anything. You cut all the corners to make all the quality that um you have down, but you want to charge $80 for the sweater. You do deserve it, yes, Ty, but do you deserve it on the backs of exploiting your people? That's the problem. It's not that you don't deserve it. It's not that you don't deserve nice things, but do you deserve it by exploiting other people? And then you say, oh, but you'll go out here and buy these white people's sweater for $150, but you don't want to buy the black sweater for black low quality sweater for 80. Ah, you're a coon. You're a crab in the barrel. Throw your money to the black company. Now, I'm not talking about the people who make their sweater and their t-shirts with the highest of quality. And they're not trying to exploit you for your money. Like I want my stuff to be the high quality. I want my stuff to be good. I want my shit to be fire. But honey, I just went down the street to the printmaker, and honey, you wash this t-shirt one time, it's gonna fade and be horrible. But what you complaining about? You spending $80 on my shirt. You spent that down there at the Gucci. I think that's where people lose sight of how capitalism works. And if it works in their favor where they're exploiting, it's, oh, this is just how business works, my nigga. This is how it is. You can change how it is. The iron-on graphics on the Hanes t-shirt for 125. Exactly. That's exploitative. And you being black does not excuse that exploitation. Sorry, buddy. That's not how it works. All right.
Taking their name from one of Megan Thee Stallion's monikers, hot girls ran the streets right alongside their city girl counterparts. No one's nigga was safe. Stories of their partying, dating around, gladly taking men's money, and reveling in the pleasure they got from their debauchery captured the minds and hearts of the masses. Their conquests were tagged, sometimes literally using hashtags, but often colloquially, with labels like Real Hot Girl Shit and City Girls Up 10 points. They refused to play by the rules of modesty and courtesy, refused to perform a version of traditionally acceptable Black femininity, and refused to take any L's. They were decentering men in romantic relationships from their zeitgeist and winning, while the world watched. Brands and corporations sought to capitalize off Hot Girl Summer as a sticky catchphrase without understanding its real implications. A blueprint was being drawn that could actually liberate a generation of Black women who might otherwise play themselves. A trap feminist model for dating went viral, and I couldn't have been happier. Of course, city girls didn't invent the fuck niggas get money model, although they have made excellent use of new technologies to expand its playing field. There have always been women who understood the game. The auntie that the rest of the women in your family whisper about, who's always traveling seemingly alone.
Period.
The college classmate with the Louis Vuitton tote, whom people call a hoe, even though they can't confidently name a single one of her bodies. That means sexual partners. The girl you suspect your nigga might be cheating with. The girl you used to work with, who was juggling 3 dudes 6 months ago, but just popped up on your Instagram feed, engaged. The women who were called hoes and mocked for being single, but when it came down to it, seemed a lot happier than the married women who talked shit about them. They did exactly what the fuck they wanted to do and let the rest work itself out. These women had the cheat code. It's that boss bitch energy with a sprinkle of rappers tap into in their songs and videos.
Oh.
So many of us assume that this version of reality is unattainable when we've actually been given a syllabus we could have been using this whole time. A new G-Wagon might need to be worked into a 5-year plan, but you can have a love life that benefits you and not some nigga this week. Before we dive into that though, I want to make it clear that there is nothing you can do to stop a nigga from cheating. There is nothing you can do to stop a nigga from being abusive. You can be the perfect woman, have the fattest ass, make the best mac and cheese, have great credit, and draw up a business plan that will make your boo a millionaire. You can run background checks and sit in his mama's face for hours asking questions about his childhood and his exes to get to know him better. You can pray, meditate, and fast. None of it will stop a nigga from nigging if that's what the nigga wants to do. Nor is it your fault if he does. If a nigga is trash, that's on him. You don't have to take any of that on. What I hope to make plain is how you can avoid being completely shattered if he is. I hope you feel empowered enough to see fuck shit sooner and swerve right around it. Make a full U-turn if you have to. I hope you're able to honor a version of Black womanhood that is not tangled up in whether or not you've locked down a commitment from someone. I hope you understand that not having a nigga at all is actually better than having a trash one. I'm going to share how I follow a trap feminist model in relationships and how I fumbled when I didn't. Every single thing may not apply to you in your specific circumstances, but I promise you, this model hasn't let me down. Number 1, I take care of myself. I tend to think of relationships and dating as a luxury, not a necessity. What's necessary is that my own proverbial house is in order. Once that groundwork is laid, then I've earned the right to splurge. My most successful relationships feel like cherries on top of an already good dessert. I'm satisfied in the same way I am when I execute a flawless face beat. I feel elevated and more beautiful, but I know that my skin underneath it all is still damn near perfect. My relationships fulfill me like a perfect chill weekend can refill my spirit. I look forward to them. I appreciate them. I bask in their glow. But I wouldn't be able to if it weren't for all that weekday grinding and showing up during the rest of the month. I like to make sure that I can afford financially and emotionally to date. The goal for me is to maintain a state of, I'll be okay with or without this nigga. I've created a life for myself that I enjoy, and I feel absolutely no kind of way about not dating folks who don't fit into that lifestyle. I know what kinds of dates I like because I take myself on them. I have my own coin and take. I never have to worry about a nigga leaving me out on the street using material things as a form of manipulation or fucking up my credit. Prenups get a bad rep, but you can bet your ass I'm signing one if I ever get married. The sense of guaranteed financial security if we break up is worth more to me than a promise that we never will. A nigga can help me with my own financial goals, but it's my responsibility to make sure they can never hurt my pockets. I cringe a little when I see my friends bragging about their sexual/romantic partners when they're also in a state of financial turmoil. I can't imagine a life for myself that would involve me entertaining multiple non-platonic relationships and still having to fundraise for my rent money. When I've been in relationships in which either my partner or myself was struggling financially, our partnership reflected that instability. We didn't go places, we didn't experience new things together, and we couldn't enjoy the present because we were so focused on figuring out what was next. If it's true that partners meet each other where they are, I was meeting people riding the same fucking struggle bus I was on when I was broke. Never again. I think everyone deserves love and intimacy, if that's what they want for themselves. But they have a responsibility to make sure they're in a place to ask that of someone else. Taking care of myself isn't just limited to my financial responsibilities either. It also includes maintaining my confidence, my ambition, and my own identity. When I was trying to date while going through deep depressions or bouts of insecurity or self-hate, I couldn't get a grip on why I even wanted to be in a relationship, let alone how I should be treated in one. I followed Libra Bay into a cloud of elusiveness because I lacked clarity in my own life. I didn't know where I was headed, so every idea she had about our future sounded like a good one. Even if I didn't know it at that time, I didn't have the mental or emotional capacity to try to build a life with someone. As my emotional well-being improved, I literally moved to a new city, started graduate school, got my finances in order, and started to overcome some major mental health hurdles over the course of my fake relationship with Libra Bay. I was finally able to make sense of what was really happening with us. I suddenly saw the smoke and mirrors. Now that I've done that work, my character can't be compromised. I know my boundaries, I know my standards, and I know how to communicate them to anyone who wants to deal with me. One of the biggest mistakes anyone can make in dating is to go in unprepared or unfulfilled. Desperation and discontent cloud your judgment and perspective, especially when it comes to people you're still getting to know. These deficits make it harder to tell whether or not the relationship is working, whether the person is worth your time, and if your needs are being. If you're not taking care of yourself, how do you know what care looks like? If your relationship with this other person dictates the person you are, then whose life are you really living? A partner can add value to my life in a lot of ways, but they cannot take anything away from it. My primary commitment is always to myself, because I can't show up for anyone else if my shit is not together. Let's go back to our good sis Harriet Tubman real quick and look at what happened after she realized John Tubman was a dub. She was obviously pissed and hurt about it, but she didn't make a scene. She got right back to work. And instead of escorting her now ex-husband to Pennsylvania, she led another group of enslaved Black folks to freedom. She became the visionary we're still honoring over 100 years after her death. She also remarried Nelson Charles Davis, a veteran and bricklayer who was 22 years younger than her. They were together for 19 years before he died of tuberculosis. Despite the work she did on behalf of her people in this raggedy-ass country, Harriet experienced a lot of financial hardship later in life. This isn't because she wasn't a boss, it's because she was a Black woman in 19th century America. What matters is that she never lost sight of her goals and purpose, and she didn't rush to be someone else's wife. I like to think that before she remarried, she had a boo or two who caught her eye and kept her company. And my hope is that during her marriage to Nelson, she was getting her back properly blown out. I like to imagine that she was happy, fulfilled, and just fucking fine without John. Why? Because she knew who she was and her shit was together. Number 2, I only date people who take care of themselves. When Michelle Obama said she was only willing to date Barack Obama because he was already a fully formed person, I felt that in my spirit. I was equally moved when the prophetesses, known as city girls, proclaimed that broke niggas don't deserve no pussy. As far as I'm concerned, these are two sides of the same coin. I can't date anyone who doesn't have their shit together, and I can promise you that they won't be getting any coochie from me. If you've made it this far in the book, then you understand all the circumstances I've had to overcome and all the work I've had to do to be a bad bitch. I need that exact same energy from my boo.
Okay. I want to stop there because I think that this is I know somebody could easily listen to that, especially if you are somebody who is a cis man or something. You can be like, oh, because there's like this crazy like I don't know. It's like so you meet a guy and your energy is I got my own stuff. I pay my own bills. I want a man, but I don't need a man. I don't need him to, because the status quo is the man take care of everything. Da, 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 da. But you have put yourself in a position where, look, I make enough money. I'm good. I got my own home, or I got my own place. I got my own car. I don't really need you to show up and take care of me. I want a man, but I don't need a man. And they will demonize you for that and say that you are too independent, you are masculine, you are you are not giving him a chance to be a man because you don't need him. Okay? But if you say, okay, well, I want a man to do stuff for me. I want him to pay for things and da 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 da. Then you are a gold digger. You are all about money. You are out here trying to use men. So you can't be independent, and you can't be too independent, and you can't be too dependent. Like they don't know which one they want. Now this is only broke niggas, because rich niggas, I'm sorry. I know this bust people's bubble, but you don't be having no problems like this with rich niggas. Like niggas who got money, they don't be tripping about paying for shit for you. Because first of all, they don't want you out here working, because when they want to have access to you and your time, they want that. Like you out here working for $25 an hour or whatever to pay them little bills over there. Let me take care of you, baby girl. Da da da. That's usually how rich niggas be fucking be down. Like it's just what it is. It's actually when you can be able to take care of your people around you, your family, your girl, da 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 da. That's actually high status, high value men. Like that is what they look to be, especially when they get older. When they got a coin, they're looking to be the king of their castle. That's high status. Yeah. This remind me of TD Jakes going viral for saying women need to create a need for a man. Exactly. 1 minute is I need you to create a need, but then the other minute they're calling you a gold digger when you ask them to do something. Which is something that motherfuckers be having an issue with.
I want to know that you're managing your finances, taking care of your responsibilities, staying true to who you are, and moving toward who you want to be. Furthermore, the love languages that I'm most receptive to are gifts and acts of service. I like to be spoiled and worshipped by my lovers. I want to date someone I can have exciting new experiences with. You need a discretionary budget to date a bitch like me. I am very understanding of the realities of capitalism, economic inequality, and class warfare. I've lived through many of them. I empathize with those in the struggle, but at this point in my life, I can't join you in that struggle. I'm not passing judgment, but I'm not going to fuck you.
That is period. That is on period. I'm somebody who um you gotta come at me with what I like. So I'm not somebody who is like um above fucking a nigga for free. I don't want to say that. But if you are a dude that I'm dealing with for free, there is a certain level of decorum and finesse that you're gonna have to get with me. Also, um, yeah, that's just what it is. And also, if I am not, but also I'm not taking care of no nigga. I'm not taking care of no man. I'm not, I'm no longer a ride or die chick and waiting for you and dating dudes for potential. I'm not that. I would literally, and then I'm also older. So I also am not going to I'm not scared to be by myself for literally the rest of my life. I am not scared of that. And why I'm not scared of that is because I enjoy my own company. I enjoy being out here exploring the world. I enjoy alone time. I Because I have healthy relationships with friends and men in my family, um, and I never feel lonely. I'm not somebody like, oh my God, I wish I had a man here to hold me. I'm not that. I don't even, and I think it might be because I have ADHD. I don't have time to sit and think about that. I can't even my brain doesn't even dwell on thoughts that long to be sitting feeling lonely. Like if I get bored, baby, I want to go out here. Hey, girl, you want to go out to lunch? Or oh, let me get on a video game. Oh, let me write some music. Oh, let me go live. Let me like I don't really think of like I don't settle on a thought long enough for me to be lonely. And I definitely when I want when I'm horny and I want sexual intimacy, I got people I can call. Hey, what's up? Come let me slide some stuff in your mouth. Hey, what's up? You busy tonight? Come through. When I need that, but and most of them, if I want something more than sex, like if I want to, hey, I want to go see this movie and I want to be in the comfort of a man. If I want to do that, then I have people who I can call and say, "Hey, I want to go to the movie tonight. What you doing?" And they be like, "Yeah, I go." Da, 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 da," and we're going, and they pay for it. I don't have a time when I'm like, "Oh my God," I'm not sitting at night in my bed like, "Oh my God, I wish a man was next to me." No, I'm not thinking like that. Like that's not really how I ever have thought for real, for real, for real. Um, but yeah, I don't get lonely in that sense. And I think I have a homegirl who she's going through a breakup and she asked me, we were getting our toes done in Vegas, and she asked me just the question was, do I see myself not being in a I don't remember how she worded, but basically questioning me not being worried about a relationship, like why that wasn't important to me, and I had to explain like, yeah, I don't center my happiness is not centered around whether or not I am in a romantic relationship. If I am in good relationship with multiple types of people in my life, it is enough to make me feel like I have a community and make me feel like I'm not alone because that's I other than I don't understand what they give you. I done been in a relationship with somebody. Other and I what else do they give you that is different? If you have good, healthy relationships with everybody else and you have somebody who you can sleep with, what are you actually getting that's different? If you can explain that to me, then maybe that may be why I don't think about it because I done been in a relationship with somebody other than the economic stuff, like, oh my God, I have somebody in here that's helping me pay bills. But as far as on a day-to-day basis, what am I getting from them? Because just that daily intimacy don't really do nothing for me. It's sweet while it's going on. Yeah, I love it if I'm in the relationship, but it's not something that I missed or I'm like, oh my God, I have to have that or I feel down and depressed. I don't think like that. You said you have ADHD and yet you show none of the symptoms of it. your college graduate, your productivity. So, are you saying this as a social thing people say? No, I'm diagnosed with ADHD. Like I have been diagnosed and medicated for it. And there's plenty of college graduates who have ADHD, and there are plenty of college graduates there are plenty of people who are productive with ADHD. So I don't know exactly what you mean. Y- What are the symptoms that you think that I don't show? And sometimes you don't see symptoms because people have created coping mechanisms either through therapy or their own person just through their life learning how to be productive. So I don't understand what you mean. Just because you don't see systems, that doesn't mean see symptoms doesn't mean that I haven't. It's you don't see them because I have there are coping mechanisms that I have created myself or that I have learned through therapy or reading or different ways to deal with that. Yeah, there's tons of people with ADHD that knows how to um who cope with being having those symptoms. Sometimes there is misdiagnosis. A person might be told they have something they do not have, not saying you or you not. Yeah, I'm not misdiagnosed. I'm a Pisces. Both of them. Yeah, I never had to deal with loneliness. I've only ever lived by myself. I have gotten homesick before. And when you say homesick, do you mean homesick as in what it define home, Brandon? Define what is home. Are you talking about the home when you by yourself at your actual home or homesick as in like your parents' house? Um, what is homesick? Yeah. I think that's not necessarily um I think that feeling of missing those people, that feeling of community, I think we all, even if we're okay with being alone, or a loner, even the most hermit ass motherfuckers want to be in community. And it doesn't mean I want to be around a million people, but those one or two people that you feel a special connection with, those are your community. And sometimes you feel the need to be in spaces with them. So you can be homesick for that actual community. And so I think that makes a difference because that's what makes a difference of why you don't get lonely because you build that community. And for me, I'm very I know my coping mechanism. I can be alone for a long period of time and don't think about it. I have to be very, very intentional in staying connected to my people, my community of people, staying connected to them. And because I can go down a rabbit hole of being by myself without it being conscious of it. Do you see what I'm saying? Like it's um and not have any kind of like thought process about it. Like um I can just go and go and go and go and then boom, oh it's been a month and I haven't talked to my friends. And it's not about me being funny acting or da 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 da. It's about me going I'm not thinking about it. I'm thinking about other stuff I don't I'm not thinking about it, but I just as a healthy person in a healthy relationship, you have to keep that connection going. Because they may not be like you. They might want to engage with their friends more often in a more authentic way. But I'm somebody who I don't need to talk to my friends all the time. I can talk to it could be a month. It could be Um, Shit, it can be longer than that. Um, when I'm homesick, it was when my grandmother got sick and I didn't know. I just all of a sudden got the urge to really need to go home. Never got homesick before that. Yeah. Sometimes there's moments when I miss hearing my brother laugh. There's a my brother has a social, I don't know what it's called, but I don't know what's the name for it, but how my brother engages socially is very I don't know how to explain it, but I like being around my brother. My brother's personality is fun, is inquisitive, is smart, is funny. It's um it's and he's been like this since he was a kid. Like his behavior in a room is to make the room go up, like to make the aura of the room happy. He's always been like that. It's just something about his personality, and it's not necessarily a people pleaser. And it might be layers of that within that with him, but when he's in a room with people, and it doesn't matter who it is, it could be my family, it could be his friends, it could be whatever. When he's in a room, um, he it's very intentional. He intentionally brings up the room. It's not accidental. It's not just by being nice. It is, you can see him intentionally not missing a person in the room to make them either laugh or participate in the conversation. You're not just going to be sitting in the room with him and just sitting, and he not come over to you and bring you into the mix of the room. It's kind of like if you like a facilitator, like if you in a good facilitation with people at like a conference or something, whatever, and they know how to draw each person into the conversation. Oh, what do you think about it? Da, 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 da. They're really really good at that in a non-pressuring way. My brother is like that just naturally. He has been like that since he was a child. Like it's just something about him. And so sometimes I miss that about my brother. Like if my brother passed, that would be something that I would be like, "Ooh, I miss this about my brother." I know it. I know that's something that was about him. So sometimes I have to be very, very intentional about no, he is a Libra. No, no, he's not a Libra. He is a Leo. Um, Not a Libra. A Leo, which is, if you know a Leo, is very them. They are on they're center stage. They love being center stage, and so yeah, is he an extrovert? Yes, he is. I would think so. Yeah, I would think my brother's an extrovert. Um, and so I miss that about him. Um, what else? Yeah, I think that there are some ways that I'm really, really intentional about that. I'm trying to think of other ways that I engage with my friends. Um me and Ty have artistic um anything that's like art, where it be like drag, it would be like music, it will be or maybe shows or new music that we find. We in the past few years, that is where we kind of connect in our finding new music, finding new, you know, cultural commentary when we talk about that. we usually are talking to each other about either our different artistic endeavors or just ideas artistically, because she is a drag girl. Um, and so she's always looking for new music to perform and those kind of stuff. So we're usually talking about music or talking about I've written a song and I'm running. She is one of my I'm running my music. Any song that I write, I'm usually running my music by her because I like her ear and I trust her ear and her mindset about stuff. And she has a wide musical catalog in her brain. So we can um go back and forth around musical ideas and stuff like that. Um I think my homegirl Brianna Jenkins, she be in here sometimes. Brianna is a I am an ambivert. I too am an ambivert. Brianna, I just like Brianna can be messy. Like we like to kiki about stuff. So we will be messy and kiki about the tea, but we also have serious conversations about our thoughts about culture. And so she's really, really brilliant in regards to how she thinks about stuff. And she just shoots from the hips and she keeps it real. So I really like her in that way. Um, um, Aria is more like she's my fashion buddy. She is my she is a water sign too. She's not a Pisces, she's a Scorpio. So we can really have dreamy, very, very dreamy conversations around we can dream. We can dream a lot. We can throw ideas back and forth and brainstorm and think very, very deeply, very vulnerable conversations about whatever. Like we can be really, really vulnerable with each other, and we can also dream and think about what about this, what about that, and whether it be with fashion, whether it be with yeah, or about travel and our exploration of the world. And so yeah, that's what I get from her in particularly. Um and my brother too is also that kind of masculine. We can have deep conversations with somebody with a masculine energy. He's cishet, he just I can have deep conversations with him with somebody outside of the queer community that gives me that kind of masculine cishet male perspective, um that's safe and not weird. um yeah, so I'm never in a situation where I don't have people that I can engage with and talk to and all that kind of stuff. My sister, I am a Leo and used to be an extrovert, but people have become so nasty as of late. I don't want to be around them. I think I'm developing social phobias. Mm. Is his father from you? What do you mean by that? Is he further from you? Like in distance? Yes, he lives in Ohio. I didn't read that right. Sorry. Have you ever felt like you were missing out without company? No. Have I ever felt like I was missing out without company? No. Uh-uh. Yeah, he's in Ohio and I am in Houston. I'm probably an extrovert, but I don't want too much fame to be noticed. But I am an introvert because I don't fit in and people don't like me, and it makes me a loner. I think you have to. I think that if I met you in person, you and me, you would be very, very intense because I think you lack tact. I don't know you personally, but based on your engagement in the chat, I think you lack a certain level of decorum and tact that would be in person annoying for me. I don't like people who do too much, and I feel like you would be somebody that do too much. I can handle it here because it's just a chat, but I think in person that might be something that would annoy me because I don't like people to be too abrasive in they um how they engage. And so if you are anywhere near how you are in the chat, I would feel like you're too intense for me. um, I absolutely love words, and I have never heard ambivert. Y'all are fabulous. Yes, ambivert. Yes, I'm definitely ambivert. Maybe you could do a couple of Chasing Threads episodes with Aria. I have invited Aria to be my host. Um, because Chance actually is transitioning to be a doll, and so Chance is actually. I don't actually. That's funny. I gotta ask Chance. Chance is actually transitioning. I don't know their new name, so we're gonna see what happens, what's happened next. But they are actually transitioning, and so we it's not new to me. I've we've been talking about it. Um, and so they finally are on the journey and doing their thing. And so I'm excited about that. And so I was gonna bring Aria on as like a host too because we love talking about fashion, but yeah, it would have been a thing. So I don't know. But I don't know what Chance is doing. Only reason why I don't do Chasing Threads way more often is because Chance be feeling some kind of way. So they are now, yeah, I'm waiting on them to figure it out. Yeah, but yeah, they are on their way to Transylvania. I am a very kind, caring person, but like anyone who has two sides to them, like my girl on here named Raven, there's a second side. What's going on with my nose? Yes. All right, let's continue.
It doesn't matter how much chemistry we have or how well we get along. One of my Tinder matches had to learn this the hard way. We'd been chatting for a couple of weeks, and one day he offered to pick me up from dinner with a friend. It was cold as hell in New York that night, and I really didn't want to take the subway home, so I welcomed this particular act of service. I'd already verified his identity, and my friend was able to get his license plate number. So I felt safe when he scooped me in his little hoopty. We chatted all the way to Brooklyn in a revealing conversation that led me to the conclusion that I absolutely did not want to date him. He was a cool guy, and we got along great, but he was broke as hell and basically told me as much. When I told him that I like to travel, he proposed we plan a road trip in his hoopty to cut down on the cost of flights. He also told me he had a kid and was struggling to make his child support payments. He was hoping his child's mother would agree to reduce the payments since she'd just gotten a new job. This is no shade to him. He didn't strike me as a deadbeat dad, just a broke one. I also have no doubt that there are plenty of women out there who would gladly date him. I just wasn't one of those women. It would have gone against everything I believe in to date someone who has to scrape together money to buy me a proper birthday gift or use a weekend he should have been spending with his kid to take me on a trip. The way my feminism is set up, I don't want to be the reason another Black woman is shortchanged on the resources she needs to raise her children. I allowed myself to enjoy our conversation, and I smoked the blunt he rolled for us. I felt very much like I was talking to one of my guy friends from back home. We laughed and kikied until I was ready to go home. There was no flirting, kissing, or anything like that on my part. When he texted me the next morning, I made it clear that I just wanted to be friends. I was surprised when he responded like this. Him, I feel like you're saying that because of my financial situation and that if I could do the things you were interested in doing, you feel differently. Me, that's correct. Him. That's fair. I just need a chance to adjust instead of being ruled out before you find out you're in love. I stood my ground, and he ended up sending me the word compromise in all caps and misspelled. I'd only met him once. We were on the same page that he didn't fit what I was looking for in a lover, and he still thought the possibility of falling in love would convince me to reconsider my own standards. He thought I should be willing after our knowing each other for 12 hours. He thought wrong, obviously. But I tell that story because 1, niggas will try you every time. 2, love by itself isn't enough to sustain a relationship if both parties aren't taking care of themselves or each other. Black women are often shamed for not wanting to take on other people's baggage, for not being the bigger person, for not seeing the potential of the people who like them, for not being willing to do some work up front. I'm not a therapist, a business mentor, a life coach, or a crisis manager. Those are hats I often have to wear in my own life or pay someone else to take on for me. I am not taking on any of those roles to date someone. I want a lover, not a job. I refuse to feel bad about it either. Number 3, I live and date by my own morals and principles and no one else's. Among the first words I ever heard Trina speak were, I ain't ashamed of nothing I do. I've taken that shit to heart. For every standard a Black woman sets for herself, there is a negative spin that can and has been put on it. If she refuses to date broke, she's a gold digger. If she does date broke, she's a sucker. If she's not dating seriously, she's a hoe. If she is dating seriously, she hasn't succeeded until she gets the ring. If she doesn't want to be married, she's lying or damaged. If she has an abortion, she's a monster. If she has kids out of wedlock, she's a tired baby mama. The reasons and methods used to shame Black women for their choices in sex, dating, and relationships are endless. We're damned if we do and damned if we don't. That's why I use my own moral compass to do what works for me. A lot of my dating philosophies fall outside what is considered acceptable. For some people, my refusal to date people who have children under a certain age or don't have enough disposable income means I'm materialistic and self-centered. They're entitled to that opinion, but it won't make me suddenly available to broke niggas with kids. I'm also ethically non-monogamous. I like having a primary partner and the option to date and have sex with other people if I want to. That suits me and my inner hoochie. This setup also works for my partner, who has the same freedom. We love each other very deeply and are very grateful that we've continued to choose each other. But our genuine happiness with each other does not stop people who think that monogamy is the foundation of all healthy relationships from questioning and doubting our choice. Why be in a relationship if you still want to fuck other people? What if you decide you want to be serious? I could never. As if I asked them. One of the unfortunate outcomes of Black women continuously decentering themselves in relationships is that they learn to rely on a set of scripts and narratives about what love should look like. There isn't a lot of room for them to figure out what their own individual needs are. There is no single model of relationships that works for every partnership. You actually have to try out a few different configurations with either the same or different partners to figure out what works for you. This is why the hoe phase is so important. You should know what all your options are before settling. But even dating multiple people is subject to scrutiny. To that, I'll offer 2 pieces of insight. 1, I have never met a woman who regretted her hoe phase, lifestyle, and or identity. However, I've met several women who are married or out of the game for other reasons who feel like they've missed out and deeply regret not having a hoe phase. 2, I've never met a hoe who couldn't transition into a housewife with the right person. People will try to find a reason to devalue you, whether you fucked 5 people or 50. Keep it cute, keep it low key, take care of yourself, keep it a buck with yourself, and do what you want. Keeping it a buck. At some point, keeping it real morphed into keeping it 100. A dollar, which is 100 cents, is also called a buck. After wealthy designer Virgil Abloh bragged about donating $50 to the Black Lives Matter movement in 2020, people began to use the phrase, keep it 2 Virgils. Number 4, I set the tone. I met Baller when I was 18. He was a few years older than me, and it should be noted that his alias has nothing to do with his income. We don't.
Okay. Yeah, I am so glad. I don't know. I've talked about this before. I am so glad of my sex worker history I am so glad. I'm trying to think of when was my whole phase. When was my like I'm single and not hoe as in working escort making money hoe, but like whole phase where I am single and just having sex for the enjoyment of having sex. I feel like my whole phase was from 25 to not 25. Um, maybe like 28. Mm, that 25 to 28 was kind of weird. It was kind of sometimes I was on, sometimes I was off. So let's just count 25. 25 to 30 to 35, 25 to 35. Between those years, it was kind of off and on, but that's when I was exploring more of what I like sexually. That was what I consider like my whole phase where I was like, "Oh, I'm exploring without the rules. Like I'm topping more. I am I'm just doing more of everything, more of bottoming, more of topping, more of um, you know, role playing and exploring sexually in a way that I am comfortable with my own agency, without centering anybody else but my own pleasure. I am so glad that I had that experience because so when I get to 35, while my frequency of sex goes drastically down after 35 because I wasn't interested in it anymore. I was still having it on occasions, but the exploration, I don't want to say got boring, but it was just like, oh, I've done everything that I personally wanted to do. And then I start doing things that maybe when somebody else might spark an idea for me to do, then I'll explore that. But everything that I wanted to explore sexually, by the time I'm 35, I had already explored it. So there was nothing that I really wanted to explore. So, you know, I didn't want to do shit. And so I wasn't doing stuff. I was doing just what I like to do. After 35, I was just doing, I know what I like. And so I'm figuring out who can do what I like the best. I need a roster of people who got the best buns, who got the best head, who got the best dick, who do I like being around and gives me the best company of um that. Um yeah. And so once I found my because I don't just how I personally think, just how my brain works. I can't get all of that from the same person. And because there are some bias. Okay, so I can technically get it, but I don't want to get it from the same person. So a dude that I'm bottoming for is not gonna be my favorite top. A dude that I'm bottoming for, he can't be my favorite top. My brain don't work like that. I'm not gonna be thinking of you as no top if I done slammed into your cakes. Can I have a love session with a verse king? Yes. That's who I ideally would like to settle down with, and then I'll work on my own biases around that. But I like to compartmentalize. If I'm slamming into your cakes, then you're the dudes that I like to top. You're not topping me. That's gonna be one person. If I'm going to be a bottom for this guy, then that's what I'm going to do with him. If you my munch, you only give head. You my favorite muncher. That's all you're gonna do for me. You just gonna give me head. We ain't gonna do nothing. We ain't gonna top bottom. Da da da. You gonna give me head. So I have a roster of people who do specific things that I want out of them, and yeah, I like that. I separate in that way. Shout out to the munchers. I see my muncher more often than anybody. My muncher, my muncher, I see him all the time. It's just kind of that's actually like the top of my list of shit to do. Give me some head, baby. That is my favorite. Especially if you're the type to give me some head and take your ass home. I ain't gotta do literally nothing. I ain't gotta do nothing to you. You just give me some head and go home. That is my favorite. That's why you're on my roster. I have a dude on my roster. All he do is give me head. He'll give me head for 2 hours just because and take his ass home. I ain't gotta touch him. I ain't gotta do nothing. I just lay back and enjoy. Now we kind of get aggressive sometimes where I'm, you know, face fucking him or doing stuff like that. But I had to learn that I like certain things in the situation. And yeah, that's what my whole phase taught me. I was able to explore. And then, the escort side of my life in my younger years actually got me way more comfortable with my body when I was younger because dysphoria because of not my body not being where I wanted to be before I got any kind of augmentations or da 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 da. I wasn't fully just comfortable being naked. Now, baby, cut these lights on and get into this shape, get into this body, get into this jiggle, get into this softness, touch the skin. And I'm that person. But that's because I learned how to be that person with clients. Like clients make you feel like a queen. They spending their money on you and they're like, oh my God, I love you. Da, 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 da. So they make you almost fake it till you make it. Like it's almost like, you know, how can you how can you have low self-esteem when each client coming in to see you is praising you like a queen? Like, damn, your body is fire. Damn, your dick is fire. Damn, your titties are fire. Damn, you so pretty. You look just like your pictures. If you getting fed all of that all the time, I don't understand how you could be thinking you ugly because think about it. Like what we say all the time, like action speaks louder than words. It ain't just a nigga saying it. He's actually spending his hard-earned money on you. His hard-earned money. The action of, yeah, I want to spend here. Yeah, it's just something that can it has no choice to me. I don't know about nobody else's experience. I'm talking about mine. That action and that connection to image, it had no choice but to seep into the reality. While I know that this is role play, I know that this is he gonna go back to his family. It's not about love at all, but there is some honesty. If you're watching, make sure you thumbs up. Um there is a role play element, a fantasy element to it, but it's also an honesty. I chose you to spend my money with, and I keep coming back to you. It's not like I'm just trying you out and then I don't ever come back. But no, I'm coming back because I like what you got going on. So and that's kind of the name of the game, that accumulative coin. And so every time I come back to the city, you breaking your neck to come see me. That's not just lip service. They actually fuck with you. And not fuck with you isn't in no deep I love you as a person and love her. No, it is you look fucking good and you are worth my time and my money. So I'm spending my money with you. My nose is let me hold on. Y'all know. I told y'all about the traits. Let me take this down because that bright light is making my nose itch. And you know, the DNA people tell me that that is why that's in my DNA. That the bright light makes my nose itch. But yes, that is a reality and it has no choice but to seep into your mindset about yourself because yeah, I am a bad bitch. And not just them, just the fact that you have to care for your body and your image in a way that on such a consistent basis, like you have to make sure your hair is pretty, make sure you have the nice clothes making you smell good. Not that you don't do that normally, but it's just some there's a certain consistency that if you are a good service provider that you are constantly putting on something nice and putting on for your client. Do you ever get played out of having a roster? I want to explore more, and I'm so cautious and uncomfortable with the idea of having more than one player on the team. No, I never get tired of having a roster because you have different relationships with each person that's on your roster. Um, I am cautious and uncomfortable. Yeah, I don't sleep with anybody that I'm uncomfortable with. So why are you cautious and uncomfortable? Are you talking about STIs or like stuff like that? You should be on prep. You should be using condoms. You should be your sexual health is your responsibility. So if I was worried about all of that, I wouldn't be out here doing nothing. But I do what I need to do to keep myself healthy. So what do you mean by cautious and uncomfortable? Why are you having sex with people that you are uncomfortable with? I think caution is just about you taking your sexual health seriously, and so you're doing what you need to do to take care of that for yourself. So that I don't need to be. My caution is in protecting myself and doing what I need to do to make sure that I don't get any STIs. Um, but when you say uncomfortable, what do you mean by that, T Turner? Um, why are you? I'm not going to even be in the room or the vicinity of having sex with somebody that I'm uncomfortable with on any level. So, what do you mean by uncomfortable? You saying uncomfortable with the idea of having more than one player, but what's uncomfortable about it if you? It might not just be you. Do you see what I'm saying? Like you don't have to have a roster. You might just want it in one person. I don't want to do that. I can't do that because I like different things from different people. The person who on my roster who has the best buns, he ain't got the best dick. He got them cakes is fat and feel like a glove on your shit. But that dick is little and tired and late. So I wouldn't want him to be any kind of top. But them buns is bunning. And so, yeah. So I wouldn't get what I want from, you know, from the same person. Yeah. cautious more so on energy and spiritual level. I am a Virgo and it gets very intense for me if I'm feeling someone. I have to play it careful, not necessarily SDIs. Oh, so you one of them people that get caught up with intense feelings. I am not one of them people. I definitely know how to compartmentalize. If you don't know how to compartmentalize, then you wouldn't. A roster wouldn't be good for you at all. So I'm never gonna fall in love with my roster. But I do things to avoid those kind of feelings. Like my roster, my munch is not hanging out and laying up, and I'm not cuddling and hanging out with my munch. We don't do that. He come over and suck this dick and go home. You is not. It's not no. It's not no sit and talk about how your day was and oh my god. Let's. So what did you do today? What do you care about? What did girl? No, that's not what we ain't doing all that. And so there's nothing that we do other than sex that would lead me to have any more feelings past that. I don't do that with him. I don't even let men come to my bedroom. Like I put a blanket over the couch and we have on the couch. And you don't even go in any area of my house other than my living room. Like I don't let you go around. I don't even let you use the bathroom. Nigga, you need to pee before you come. You get what I'm saying? Like it's just, I'm gonna go back there and get you a towel to wipe up and clean yourself off and throw it in the hamper and get you and walk you directly to the motherfucking door. That's how I work. I don't sit in people that I sit and engage with. I don't have control for me to have that kind of feeling. But if we just sex and it's just sex. Like if I'm sitting and spending time with you, then I'm like, ooh, I kind of like you, and I'll play with the idea and the dream of you. But if you are just yeah, if you are that, yeah, people on my roster, I'm not following for my roster. They are just there for now, like my roster where I like the person on my roster that I spend time with, and hook up with just where we're spending time, yeah, we might can turn into something possibly, but no. But just the munch, just the bottom, just the top, just the no, they not gonna ever be relationship status. Well, ma'am, thank you, ma'am. Yes, I'm just a relationship kind of broad, I guess. Yeah, I think there are some people who are just that. Um, Yeah, I'm not that. I can thrive in both situations. If I'm in a relationship and we are agreeing to monogamy, then yes, I can be in that situation. Um, but I can also have my roster and be okay with that. Yes. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Something not gonna boost good partners will force you to catch feelings. Not me. I'm very, very my feelings are very, very controlled. But I also think that that is a residual of being a sex worker. If you're not a sex worker, you probably don't understand. Because are you going to be falling in love with every one of your regular clients that come see you all the time? It's only been one client that I had any feelings for, but even him, when I start feeling them weird ass feelings with him, I cut him off and stop engaging with him in that way. And that didn't happen till shit 10 years into the game. We started hooking up and he was my client first in like '06, and then those feelings didn't come until 2016. So it took forever for And it was a certain shit that he started to do that made me have these feelings. He started really, really doing shit for me outside of work that changed how we engage with each other. I had a wonderful client. He was everything. And as soon as I told him I kind of like him, he never spoke to me again. And I was mad at myself because he paid like he weighed. Silly. Yes, you ruined the fantasy. You trying to, he came to you on some whole shit and you trying to make it deeper. He ain't with you for that. He with you for the fantasy and you trying to talk about I really like you. That's turning out that turns off the fantasy. Do you believe that in Pretty Woman trifecta? What does that question mean? Deeper. Explain that question deeper so I can understand and answer it. Do you believe in the Pretty Woman trifecta? What is that? They say familiarity breeds contempt. Hmm. I don't know if I agree with that, but maybe for some people. I know the movie, but what is the? I don't understand the question. Do you believe it could happen? Oh yes, I do believe it could happen. Yes, I done seen it happen. I know many tricks who turns into somebody's husband, especially if you know strippers. Strippers fall in love with their tricks all the time. Um, I know many girls that fall in love with their tricks, and tricks that fall in love with girls, and they try it and it works. Yeah, I've seen that happen many times. It's because they're human beings. Clients and sex workers are human beings. And so if they have a connection and they both agree to make it work, then it can work. If they choose to make it work. Then neither one of them, the client or the trick, is a robot. So if for whatever reason their connection um starts to be more authentic and less transactional and starts to be more um deeply felt, I think that it totally can happen. I'm not. It's not. I think that it happened. I know it can happen. Hey, Jenny Boom, how are you? I'm glad you said strippers because I have another relatable question. Yes, there's plenty of strippers who are out here in relationships with tricks that they found at the club. It depends on what people want. If she is a dancer, what is the odd that she will stop and be with him and not cheat? That's why the saying can't make a hoe into a housewife. Every stripper is not turning tricks. There's some strippers who are just dancers. You definitely can turn a hoe into a housewife. That's what she just said in the book. I know plenty of hoes that done turn into housewives. Many. I'm good. I'm happy that I caught live. Yay. Do you feel that a stripper who doesn't put out for money would fall in love, fall into the sex work category? Yes, I think anything where you are sexually entertaining somebody for money, whether it be actual intercourse or just dancing or video camming or OnlyFans, anything that is geared towards the sexual entertainment of somebody for exchange for money is sex work. Even shit like if you erotica. I think if all of your shit is about sexuality and solely about sexuality, I think even you are a sex worker. If you are a phone sex operator, if you are a webcam person, if you are an actual sex worker, if you are a erotic massage person, I think that is all sex work. Love can happen anywhere, absolutely. No, I'm not saying that she's a hoe for being a dancer, but that common belief in saying and the chance likely of her being with that one guy, there's no telling what she's doing when she's not around him. I don't know. I just don't think everybody is a liar. I don't think everybody is dishonest. I think some people can be faithful and be strippers. They can be even a sex worker. They can be honest about what they're doing. Yes, I see clients, but I see you in a more romantic way. Massage therapist. No, I think there's a difference between erotic masseuse, and a massage therapist. Hoes make the best housewives. Fuck out of here. Amen. I think so too. I think there's a difference between massage therapist and erotic massage. Erotic massage is specifically about eroticism. Massage therapist could be somebody who is fucking literally massage therapy, or somebody who is going through an accident and you working on their recovery. Or an athlete and you working on their recovery and stuff. I don't think massage therapist is always sexual. It's possible they don't lie, but me personally, I wouldn't take the chance. Cool. I just said Zane, because you said eroticism, but serious question. I didn't see the question that you asked. But yes, I think if all of your content, if the center of your entertainment is to sexually arouse, it's about sex. To me, I think that's sex work. That's because my shoulders and back hurt. I don't want my back blew out. I want the medical aspect of it. I don't know. I don't know where we're at in the conversation. I don't know what that means. Yeah. I don't know. Interesting. I think on some level, yes, I think so. I think so. If it's just, I think if it doesn't necessarily need to be sexual. It doesn't necessarily, if the point of the book is to be sexual entertainment, yes. Like if you're like a nasty magazine, or if it's meant to be a sexy magazine, a sexy book, and da da da. But if not just being sexual, but because you can have a book that's like erotic, that this is where the nuance come in. Can be erotic, but the point of it is not to turn people on. It's like this is just a sexual piece within the framework of the book. But if it's solely just about sexual entertainment, then I think that it's sex work. All of that to me.
We ever hung out in group settings with mutual friends until one day when we were alone and he shot a shot. His interest caught me completely off guard, and it wasn't a romantic proposition by any stretch of the imagination. He'd been thinking about fucking me, and he wanted to know if I'd be down. That was the pitch. Luckily for him, I wasn't looking for romance, and I was curious. So we went back to his place, took a few shots of cheap vodka, and commenced a sexual fling that lasted for the better part of a decade. Damn. Midday quickies were our thing for a while, with the occasional late night romp thrown in. We kept it mostly between ourselves, so it wouldn't be weird when we hung out with our friends. When I found out he had a girlfriend, my feelings weren't hurt, but I noticed it wasn't something he was upfront about. We carried on. Things became more adventurous for us as we involved other people in our antics and took our talents on the road. We linked at different spots in a couple of different cities. When he found himself in the middle of some dust between me and one of my best friends, I played it cool with him. We weren't serious, and there were no strings attached. We carried on. Eventually, I moved to the East Coast, and we kept in touch via G-Chat. We'd fall in and out of touch depending on what our other relationships required. He got married. I moved again, twice. We carried on. 6 years had gone by. While we certainly were not on the path to any relationship, Baller and I had moved beyond the point of no strings attached. There were strings. They were just really fucking raggedy. Besides some fairly consistent orgasms, a lot of regular weed, and a few shits and giggles, I had nothing to show for our little fling. I'd never received a single gift. He'd never offered a helping hand or even a morsel of advice or inspiration that has stuck with me. The only meaningful impact he had on my life was completely changing the relationship I had with one of my best friends, and he somehow managed to wash his hands of the situation. Baller never bothered himself with the details of my life. My successes and failures were met with the same lack of enthusiasm. I mirrored that energy and played my part. I wasn't looking for anything serious, and ethically, I had nothing against casual sex or friends with benefits. Because there were no expectations in place, Baller couldn't have broken any rules or crossed any boundaries. I didn't think I had a right to suddenly feel unfulfilled and undervalued after all of these years, and I knew he would be dismissive if I brought it up. His idea of a resolution was that I got to a place where I was still willing to deep throat him the next time we linked. When I didn't want to be bothered anymore, I knew I didn't have to give a reason why. So I fell back, always offering some vague personal reason for the sudden unavailability of my vagina. But secretly, I felt a resentment toward him that I didn't even understand at the time. So much about me and how I engaged with lovers had changed in the years since I met Baller as an 18-year-old. I'd had different kinds of relationships and friends with benefits, connections that were serving me in different ways. At first, I wrote my lingering negative feelings toward him off as righteous anger at the fact that he was only ever interested in the benefits, but never true friendship with me. His priority was always whether or not this pussy was available to him. Everything else was white noise. He didn't appreciate the bad bitch I'd become right in front of his face. I thought that was his bad, but then I realized it was actually mine. He never offered or gave me anything because I never asked. He never gave a fuck how I felt about things, but I never made that a requirement. I'd set a tone for us, and he got in where he fit in. He played the role he was always going to play, and I let him. All that resentment I felt wasn't because he played me. It was because I played myself. Toward the end, our fling became a reflection of who I was when I was at my worst. The only reason Baller and I hooked up in the first place is because I didn't have the standards I have now. But he was clear from the day we met who he was, what he wanted, and what he was willing to offer. I said okay, and in doing so, sealed my own fate.
Accountability.
People can change, but you can't change people. Don't ever let your ego convince you otherwise. People are going to do what they want to do, but in most cases, they can only do what you allow them to do. These days, I make it clear what I want and need from all of my partners up front. When I met Genius Bae, I literally sent her a list after she slid into my DMs trying to shoot her shot. I told her I needed to be able to ask for things I wanted and needed. I told her I expected a lot of privacy and a lot of head. I told her she needed to have a sense of humor. Turns out she's a huge comedy fan. I was half joking, but all she said was, I can do that. There have been folks who've balked at these needs, and that's okay, because being clear helps weed those motherfuckers out before they waste any of my time. It's a win-win. Number 5, words and labels mean things, so I use them wisely. Maybe it's because I'm a Capricorn and I love having clarity and understanding, but I am not one of those people who think that labels complicate things. I think that labels help set boundaries and can offer a guiding light for where a situation is headed.
Yeah.
Whenever I hear people, especially Black women, express their apprehension about labels in their love lives, I always assume she's dealing with someone who already isn't meeting her expectations, she doesn't trust the person, or she's also dealing with other people she's not ready to cut off. In my experience, labels don't complicate things. People do.
Boom.
But labels do change things because of what they mean. I can fuck someone and not be dating them. I can be dating someone, but that doesn't mean they're my partner. Part of how I set the tone in my relationships is that I don't pretend we're something that we're not. I'm always clear on what we are so that I can act accordingly. I don't go out in public or share too many personal details with people I'm just fucking. I don't cook and clean or have sleepovers for more than a few days with folks unless I'm their girlfriend. I don't play house, let my time be dictated, or feel the need to stop dating other people if they prefer monogamy with folks who are not my partner. If I think I want to move from one stage to another with someone, I'm upfront about it. If we're on the same page, we talk about expectations and what a reconfiguration might look like. If not, I'll fall back. I love those lines drawn in the sand. What matters most is that I'm clear on what these labels mean to me and how each of them could possibly serve me. For example, Even though I know I'm not necessarily the marrying kind, I definitely believe in sacred bonds between lovers who've chosen to build a life together. I think there is value in commitment, even if I've never felt strongly about the institution of marriage. However, I don't put every person I date on a track to be my life partner because everything isn't for everyone.
Period.
And if they want to be on that path with me, I need to trust that they can fulfill that role in my life. The first rule of both hoeing and trapping is to get the money first. I keep the same energy around dating and relationships. I make them put up or shut. Number 6, I know when to walk away. You know those funny memes about taking your nigga back for the 37th time and being a clown for him? I hate them. One thing about me is I'll cut a nigga off real quick. I truly believe that I am that bitch and access to me is a privilege. You earn it by treating me well and adding value to my life. If that's not what you're doing, why are you here? It's really that simple for me. I don't have to justify my standards or prove myself because I know who I am. Act right or see yourself out. If this is something you struggle with, here's one more anecdote. It's also been my experience that after you walk away, and sometimes after they walk away, these niggas always come back. It might not be today, it might not be next week, it might be a year from now. But eventually, you'll get that, hey stranger, or I
Hey,
miss my
big
friend
head.
text.
Hey, big
So don't
head.
ever sweat your decision to walk away from a situation that doesn't serve you. You're not losing out on anything, and you can always change your mind later. You are the prize, and you are the priority. Fuck these niggas.
Yes. So, what are some of your unconventional like standards and rules that you have in your relationship that you like, I've learned, or if you haven't, um, that's okay too. But what are some of your rules around that you've learned about yourself over this time? The name of the book is, I just posted the link. It's right. Oh, no, 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 no. That is not what I wanted to post. um, where's my. Oh, see, can you see? By the dawn's early light. What's so proudly we hailed, and the twilight's less gleaming. It is cold. It is cold. There. It is there. It is there. It's called Bad Fat Black Girl. Notes from a Trap Feminist, Cecily Bowen. I made chicken and rice and some biscuits. In a relationship, I practice the rule that we are not solely responsible for each other's happiness. I think that is an important. I think that's an important rule to have. I love the way the incident that made me really deeply think about that was Will and Jada Smith. Like, I know people love to read headlines and just the scandal of the past couple of years with them, of them being honest about their, not that they weren't honest, but being open, not honest, being open about their relationship. Um, I think people are stupid reading headlines and don't actually watch stuff and sit and hear them talk about it, because you would literally, even in their own separate books, how they have navigated their marriage and how they're like, we are each other's people. And even if we got to go and deal with other people, that's what we're going to do. And them both knowing and being honest about that and doing what they need to do to be in control of their own happiness. I think that's dope. Like, people were like, "Oh, she cheated with August, whatever his name is, Alcina," totally ignoring how they previously talked about their relationships. Like, is it cheating if my partner knows what I'm doing? It's not. It's not cheating. If my partner knows what's going on and there is consensual consent going on, consent for them to go out and find somebody they want to hook up with or whatever, however that works, that's not cheating, baby. That eliminate the cheating is if I break the commitment that we both agree to. But if we agree that we both can be free, which both of their books, if you actually read them, they both agreed and they both were messing around. Because at some point they decided that I cannot get what I need from this one person. So if we have to, but we're not getting a divorce. So if we got to go find and have fun outside of the relationship, then that's what we're going to do. And they both decided to do that. The only difference is Jada hooked up with somebody that was telling the tea, just like a nigga. August was telling the tea to somebody, which is crazy to me because he don't be telling the tea about this boy he got a partner with. He don't be in interviews talking about that man. Why you had to go and be telling people about you and Jada? And so yeah, she had to address it on Red Table Talk. But if you notice now, he don't be talking about that nigga he booed up with. Why you had to be talking about Jada? That was so late and tired. I felt like he was trying to pooch on Will, and Will was like, "Child, I already knew what was going on. I already knew what was going on." I think he felt like he felt like he was gonna get some clout for hooking up with Jada. Um, Not knowing that she was gonna nip it in the butt. But also there was also what people also don't understand. Prior to that whole fiasco, they also had another episode on Red Table Talk where Jada had Will, and Will was and Will was talking about how he was creating this life for himself. Like, he was creating this life for himself that she was like a cornerstone in. Like, I'm creating this perfect marriage and family for myself, totally ignoring what she needed as a person from the wedding. I remember there was an incident where he was having a birthday party for her, and there was a video of her grandmother that he saved for the party, and he thought that it was cool to do in public, but it wasn't cool to do for her. Like, she had mourned her grandmother, and this should have been a private special moment for her. And she can tell that he was just doing it for him. That he was just doing it for the show of it. Look at what I did for my wife, to everyone. It wasn't special specifically for her, despite being for her. Does that make sense? Like, he's doing this as a show of how much I love my wife for other people. It's not about it being special to me, because if it was about it being special to me, you would have showed me this privately. That because this was a personal family thing that should not have been shown publicly. This is a personal thing. And if you cared about me and talked to me and knew me, you would have known this is for me. It wouldn't be just a show. But because of who you are, you're doing it as a show. And that's not who I am. And see, I think the total opposite, T Turner. I think Jada has been very present in the relationship for a long time, her and Will. And they have worked through therapy and through and great communication to work in making they both agree they want this relationship to work. And so if that means that we're in the same house together and we play around with different people, but them people know that we are a team and we are together, this is how it works for us. And that's very present. And they both have shared in their own books and in their own intimate conversations that this is how we have built this consensual, healthy communication with each other, making us both intently present in making this work, because we're not just going with the flow. We're actually making this work. Yeah, we're actually intently deciding that this is how we both make this work. And I think that that is powerful. I think that that is yeah, I think that once she learned that she was like not happy in this situation, they had to have that breakthrough moment, which happened years ago, well after when we see it, well before when we see it. And they talk about it openly, but people don't actually, they just read the headlines and they're just totally skipping all of the stuff that's involved in the situation that they are open about. And then also, then we got the misogynoir and the misogyny that wants to blame her for everything. Oh, he did that for Jada. Even if he did it for Jada, it was his choice in regards to like smacking Chris Rock. It was his choice to do it. He a grown ass man. You don't get on stage and smack somebody at the Oscars just all willy nilly. There's a history there, and you decided to do it as a man. You remember how cold her response was in the slap. What was she supposed to do? I don't know. He was gonna go up there and slap. What was she supposed to do? Cry? What was she supposed to do? Like I never understand people having expectations of Jada in this situation. But it wasn't for her. That I just explained to you how Will works. And if you get the context of how Will works based on what they both have said, it ain't just her telling his side of the story. He has said it. Like, I am the type of person that wants to control my image and my life when it comes to my family and my wife and my image. And so my actions always revolve around that image. This is what Will said out of his own mouth. And so what Will said is I had to learn how to relinquish some of that control. There was an image that I wanted to portray. And Jada and all of my kids, all the life, I wanted to create this perfect, I'm the man of the household, da 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 da. So if you think that he thinks like that, some dude making a joke about his wife publicly, especially if we have a history of you being disrespectful about my wife, Me going up there and smacking you is not about me protecting my wife. That's the veneer. It's really about me and the image that I have publicly about me and my family. I'm a man. You not going to disrespect my wife in front of everybody. I'm going to come up there and smack your ass. That's not about Jada. That's about Will's ego and his manhood. And that aligns with who he is and how he maneuvers through the world. How Jada has said he maneuver and how he himself has said is something that he has to work on with himself, like wanting to have that perfect patriarchal image and being protective. He literally had a trauma bond, a trauma in his life where his mother was getting abused by his father and he felt powerless. So of course he grows up to be a man who wants to be the protector because he was shamed by not being able to protect his mother. Like he literally goes through this in his book and talk about that is that is a core memory and bond that that colored his adult life and it's something that he had to work on. And that moment in the slap was another just a moment where I was out of control within that trauma. Like I should not went up there and slap him, but because he was making jokes about my wife, I'm just gonna go up there and wear it out. Common sense. And this is what they have collectively talked about. But because of people's misogyny and want to demonize Jada, they're giving her more power in the situation than him. When he's the one who got his big grown ass up there and smacked somebody. Whether it is the veneer to whether you're thinking whether it's about protecting his wife, it's almost like people who what was that? What was there was a book. God, what the fuck was that book? Where they were talking about um protecting your daughter's virginity is not about creating a good woman or creating it's not about your daughter, you it's about your image as a man to the public. Your daughter being a good girl and a virgin and you being able to protect her virginity to it's the right time to you're able to give her away to her husband. That is a sign of a successful man. It's not about you caring, it's still of you objectifying her as property. Like I own her vagina. That's why and not in a I have access to her vagina like a pedophile, but I own her because this is my property and I'm objectifying her as a daughter. And also, this is the first time that men clock this T. I'm gonna get to that. So yes, it's about protecting their image as a man. I am a successful father if I protect this my daughter's virtue. After I spent my life taking away people's virtue and trying to get in between somebody's legs. Okay. But also, this is the first men who have daughters. This is the first time they are in relationship with a being other than their mother. Oh no, not even their mother. Um, this is the when a man has a daughter. This is the first time that they are in relationship with a female woman. Not a she's not a woman yet, but a female thing that is not that they are solely responsible to give, and it's not set in a transactional situation. Usually, they're about taking or it's a transaction. This is the first relationship in their life where I have to give. My job is to give. I'm supposed to provide for my daughter. I am supposed to give protection to my daughter. I am supposed to do these things. She's not supposed to give anything to me. This is the first time that men, when they have a daughter, that they are in these types of relationships, that they're in that type of relationship in their lives. That's usually the first time that they're in that situation. Cishet men. I'm just a, maybe not even just them, but make it easy. Think about it. Think about it. Who else is men in relationship with that is either not transactional or they're taking? Where they just have to give. They're just expected, socially expected to give. Yeah, you are totally right, T, when it comes to T.I. and his daughter and checking the hymen and that weird ass shit. That's not about her. That's about him. Yeah, so that type of relationship, the daughter and the father and daughter relationship, usually this is the first time in their lives that they are just expected to give, and it's not transactional and getting. Yes. Yeah, so make sure you thumbs up if you're listening. All right, we got 15 more minutes. What do y'all want to talk about? That was the end of the chapter. Anything else y'all want to talk about? And we ain't talking about no Illuminati. That is crazy. You have on your tinfoil hat tonight, you and me. Your tinfoil hat, your Illuminati foolery. Child, if you think that's real, I got a boat in Montana to sell you. In a study in by hold on. In a study by Willem van Prucken, people are particularly receptive to conspiracy theories when they lack control and hence feel powerless. Lacking a sense of control leads to mental sense making in the form of illusionary pattern perception. This is connecting dots that are not necessarily connected in reality. These sense making activities are central in beliefs in conspiracy theories, which are designed to increase understanding of a distressful situation. Various studies establish a causal effect of lacking control, as well as the closely related concept of subject uncertainty on beliefs in conspiracy theories. Likewise, people are more likely to believe in conspiracy theories in response to distress societal events that they cannot control. Also, correlation found confirmed that feelings of powerlessness predicts belief in conspiracy theories. Therefore, expecting that education predicts decreased feelings of powerlessness or increased feelings of control, which mediates the relationship of education with conspiracy theory beliefs. And so I read that because when you can't make because you are powerless in thinking about situations, it makes you or uneducated about whatever's going on, it makes you more susceptible to believe conspiracy theories. So you have to be careful when you get to talking about Illuminati and you get to talking about this weird them that stuff. you are falling you are there's a reason why you are susceptible to those type of things. That's not especially certain things when you regurgitating um thoughts that like are on YouTube channels and blogs and those kind of fucking videos, and you just like, oh my god, it's like not rooted in reality. That gets kind of weird. It's like, hmm. All the Illuminati stuff takes away the agency from those peoples as if an unnatural force is compelling them to do stuff. Yeah. Do you get into politics these days? I feel like everything is politics, which isn't the case. They be wanting the fame and doing whatever to get Illuminati nonsense. It's just that nonsense. But if puffy parties are not real, Illuminati causing puffy parties is not real. Puffy being a rich nigga who throws freak parties, you don't need to be some scary group to do that. They're Puffy's parties are real, but there's enough information out there to know that this is just a rich man entertaining people and using his money and power to have parties, to have sexual parties in the freaky way that he wants to have them. There's enough information out here to know that that is real. There's no secret group forcing him to do these things. You don't need to be you don't need to have a secret group. He is the rich, powerful man doing it on his own. It's not some secret conspiracy some what is it? Some secret haze or secret order of the ilk of the elk making them do that. He's just a rich man that's freaky and he has the power to do it. Diddy was a criminal that did crimes against people using his fame and notoriety, hence the RICO charges he's facing. What's too obvious? That's clear. Sometimes it's just obvious. It's just the facts come. Sometimes facts are just obvious. You, who pushes the scam gimmick? Then you, people like you. You push the belief of it. There are facts in the story that are out. The media lied to the population. No, who lied to them about what? Lied to about what? I don't understand what you're talking about. It's an anti-black movement that wants you to believe that black people sacrifice themselves and others for fame. That's not true. Facts. I bet he is controlled by a white man, Clive Davis, or a group of white people who are Freemasons. Yeah, that goes back to what I just said. You believe that because the idea of a black man being powerful and rich enough to have his own agency to do these harms, that short circuits your brain for whatever reason. And so you want to blame it on the white man. That's just not realistic. There are black men out here who are rich and powerful enough to have their own harms and do their own harms. Like it literally is. And so blaming every bad boy or incident happening on some white man is weird. It's very weird. It's very weird. That's so weird to me. Because you got to ask yourself, why are you making these narratives? Um, you see this right here? You see this wall, this picture on my wall? The white man did not make me choose to put this on my wall. You see this right here? The white man did not make me choose to put this on my wall. While theoretically, politically, the white man can be at the top societally and they can control these systems that oppress me, there are certain actions that I can control in my life and do. And so, while beauty standards say that I should have Marilyn Monroe or some other white entity on my wall, I chose to have this beautifully fashioned black woman. So, in my vicinity of my control, I chose to do this regardless of the white man. If I was rich, it could be other choices it may be a big ass statue right here. And so I'm using that as an analogy. Yes, there are certain incidents where the system kind of the white people in power can kind of control things, but when you are on the level of Diddy with his own level of power, he can do harm on his own. He don't need a white man puppeteer controlling him. That doesn't make sense. And if you are a black person that is blaming every single thing, every harm that a black person does on a white person, that is you skirting accountability for their harms. And so you have to ask yourself, why are you doing that? Why are you trying to make Diddy unaccountable for his own harm? Why are you choosing to believe in a in a fictional white man controlling Diddy, in doing freak parties and abuse to Cassie and all the things that we see that is in the evidence that he's doing? Why are you making him have to have handlers? Why does that work in your mind? Why does your mind have to make him have to have handlers? Because that is in your mind. That's not in the reality. So why do you need for this harmful black man to have to be controlled by handlers? That's what you have to ask yourself, because that is a you thing. And that goes back to what I said. Something in your life makes you vulnerable. Something in your life makes you vulnerable to conspiracy theories. Something is making you feel powerless to where you got to make up these narratives that this harmful person needs a white Geppetto handler. That is crazy, babe. That's crazy. There's something disconnecting there. Why do you need that? Does that make you feel safer? Does it make you feel safe when somebody that you may look up to feel harmed? Like what? Like why do you need that to be your truth? They made us all participate in their nonsense, foolish shutting down our jobs and etc. with the scam gimmick. Yeah, yeah. You're you're gone, darling. Anyway, I'm done entertaining that silly conversation. A lot of black men still are mentally tied to the white man. Even the white men, even white people don't even think about this anymore. Yeah. Anyway, it's just like saying Gucci was cloned in prison and isn't the real him because he changed. Why couldn't a black man just change? Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know why people are it's not, no, I do know why. I just explained it. I just explained it. That's why I particularly read that. People, when people feel powerless and the reality of a situation does not fit the narrative that they want, their storyline, they it has to be, it makes them more vulnerable. They need something that's going to explain this. And so Illuminati, some scary white man, or da da da. That that's how they compartmentalize it. That's how they make sense of it, by connecting these imaginary dots. That's why I read that. So, and this is also, this is like that Trumper syndrome. Like this is also what they are experiencing. Like they don't understand the price of eggs being so high. They don't understand why the job market sucks. So instead of um blaming the billionaires and da 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 da, they want to blame the the evil criminal immigrants. They want to blame the welfare queen, the lazy black people. They want to blame everybody but the people who are the problem. that kind of delusion in them believing the conspiracy theories, QAnon, and all that kind of stuff. That's this. That's an example of this is how Trump people think. So people they feel powerless and they don't know how to make sense of it. And people on Fox News and conspiracy theories and right wing conspiracy theorists, they create something for them to believe in so they can make sense of it. This is how like their mind works. This is that same thing, but just like on the right. Yeah, the the controllers, the rich and powerful billionaires, they're in plain sight. It's not a secret. They're literally taking over the government right now. That's not a conspiracy theory. That is what's happening. I don't need to make that up. It's not secret. It's like literally out front. They're doing it. It's not a secret club or secret group. Welfare queen. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Oh, say. Is anything else going on? Um, what else? What else is going on that's just been interesting in topics? What is your favorite decade of time in history that you would visit? Um, Definitely the 70s. I like the glamour of the 70s. It is after the civil rights movement. It is before the AIDS epidemic. So it just would have been um, just a great time before the crack epidemic. Yeah, but it's not a agree to disagree thing. It's a truth and an untruth, a truth and a lie. Like it's not a when you position a lie as there's a difference between an opinion of one thing and we're just debating something and it's an opinion. You're actually telling lies. You're actually there is no Illuminati. There is no white man controlling Diddy and making him do freak parties. It's a lie. And the truth is like it's no um we just agree to disagree. No, it's a lie. It's just you believe untruth. You're like a flat earther. The world is round, that's the truth, and you believe the world is flat. It's not. There's a reality and then there's a lie. Yeah, I could see you living in the 70s. Yeah, the 70s would be fire. I would say the late 80s and early 90s minus A's and drawn on brows. Well, then you wouldn't have the same late 80s and early 90s, child. That's where the A's was doing the A's. You're bringing up things that don't have anything to do with P. Diddy. White cops murdering people don't have anything to do with P. Diddy. White people murdering black people don't have anything to do with P. Diddy. Those two things don't correlate. White cops killing people is just a white cop killing people, whether by racism or not. That's not evidence of P. Diddy being controlled by a white man. Those things, I don't know where in your brain you think that that's justification. That doesn't make sense. That has nothing to do with P. Diddy choosing to do freak offs and harm people so much so that he is now caught up in a justice system, period. Those two don't have anything to do with them. They have nothing to do with each other. Like you're not making sense. No, no. I'd love to go back to the 20s or the 60s. Yeah, I don't want to go back to anything where no, I don't. I would probably be dead because even white people was acting crazy. Yeah, I couldn't go back there. It needs to be post 60s. I feel like the 70s was that sweet spot where all that upheaval was happening, and then we were in like a um we were in a downtime. It was like, oh, okay. Not saying that racism didn't exist at all, but it was something about the 70s that was more about, okay, we had all this hard times. Now we having fun and partying and doing cocaine and do this is also like when the black beauties start to come out, like the Imans and the Beverly Johnsons and the I don't know, it was like it started to change. Yeah, go ahead, Gigi. I was trying to give grace. Getting weird. Getting too weird for me. Was cloned and sent back in, yeah. I would go back to the 2010s because this timeline is crazy. Political here. The Roaring Toonies does sound like it would be fun, but I feel like I don't know. I feel like I would get into it with some of the people. Um, 2000. Now look, 2010s. If I could go back to 2000s, that means I'm doing all my 20s over again. That was my from 19 to 29. Doing that time of my life all over again, I don't know. It would change the trajectory of my life heavily. That was a lot of shit going on in that era of my time. There was a lot going on during that era. So I wouldn't be the same person that I am today. If I went back to that time with my mindset now, child, it would be a whole different. I would rather do a time that I didn't exist. But going back to 2010s, I wouldn't be who I am today. And I don't know. I like who I am today. I don't know what I would be, what I would have, where I would have gone if I would have went back with my mind that I have now. I know I would be rich because I would have played. I wouldn't live in Houston because there's certain things that I just wouldn't have done. I definitely wouldn't live in Houston. Yeah, I would. Yeah. If I go back with my mind now, I wouldn't be here. Yeah, they saw all the fun we was having and they had to sprinkle some cracking in the 80s. Hmm. Yeah, I wouldn't have, I know I would. I wouldn't have met. Yeah, if I did something different than I did in early that's my Jackson State days. I would have totally um dealt with Jackson State in a different way. Um I might not even got custody of my brother, or if I did, I might not have went back to Indianapolis. I would have tried to make Jackson work. Um yeah, so many things that would have happened because I went back to Indianapolis out of fear. Like out of fear to because Indianapolis was home and so I was like, "Oh, I can be able to survive there because it was home." If I hadn't made that decision, if I didn't think like that, which I wouldn't now if I go back, I would have stayed in Jackson. That would have put me in a situation where I was living in Jackson and I would have had to go through Katrina. Yeah, I just my trajectory of my life would not have went to because Katrina would have been '05. But then even then I would have graduated by then and left. Yeah, it's so many things that would have happened. I wouldn't have went back to Indianapolis. I never would have went to Houston. I went to Houston based on there's so many events that led me to Houston. I would never have went to Houston. I ended up coming here because I was in a relationship with a person that was here. Um, but I never would have met him because I never would have went to Indianapolis, back to Indianapolis, and he had came to Indianapolis based on Katrina. I wouldn't have been there. I would have been in Jackson. Yeah, so many things that would not have happened unless another life would have led me to Houston. But I don't. It never would have. Yeah, I never. Yeah, so many things that I never would have done. Yeah, and if I go back with the mind that I have now, like if I go back knowing what I know, maybe I would be rich because I would invest my money in stocks in Amazon, Apple, so many things. Yahoo at the time, even though I would sell it eventually. Um, YouTube in 2006. I would invest in so many things because I know the tea now. I know Amazon, Apple, and YouTube and Google would all be juggernauts later. So I would have stocks in all of them and I would be balling. Mm-mm. Yeah, I would do something totally different. Totally different. I would not stay in the United States. If I knew what I know now, I would be living abroad. I would be doing so much different shit. I think now that I'm older, I I value travel way more than I did when I was younger. Mm, no, I would be living abroad, being the Baroness. Yeah, I would have. Yeah, I just would be a rich traveling bitch. Hopefully, I was 19, yeah, I would invest in learning a language by that time. Life is crazy. They say in quantum physics there is a you who made those different decisions and you're living those lives. Isn't that wild? Mm-hmm. Yeah, get your life. Get your life. Get your life. Get your life. But all right, darlings, I'm about to take my ass to sleep. I am sleepy. Yeah. Have you listened to Duran new album? I have not. I'm gonna go see Duran here in Houston. So I'm gonna see him in, was it April? Was it April or May? I can't remember when he come to Houston. I'm gonna see him then. Um, yeah. but I haven't listened to the album. Yeah, I'm gonna be. Yeah, it's gonna be. I don't. Whenever the Houston show is, I think April the 24th. I think I'm gonna go to that one. But it depends on if I'm broke or not. I'm really poor right now. I am really broke. I done spent my last money on my trip for my birthday, and my account looks so sad. It looks so sad. Um but hopefully I will have some kind of gig between now and April. And yeah, hopefully I'll be all good and I made some coins. But this is usually this time between December, January, and April. Oh, I don't be making money off YouTube, y'all. I don't make money off YouTube. YouTube do not pay good like it used to. Back in the day, like in 2010, 2012. And it's partially my fault, but YouTube don't pay good like that, y'all. That's not how I don't make money off YouTube like that. The last time I had a sickening check was in 2012. My money comes from my podcast, um, my podcast patrons on Patreon, and grants that cover the cost of the podcast, and that yeah, that covers like the me paying my co-host, that covers like my salary, my co-host salary, my grant writer, my just different donations from different people. Um that's how, you know, me having speaking engagements, teaching engagements, and me doing consulting work. That is the income. That's where my income comes from. YouTube stopped making money for me in 2000 and I want to say like 13. That's when I stopped getting like the nice YouTube checks. 2012 really, but it slowly declined in 2013. Yeah, you have to be talking about certain things like tech YouTubers make money, any kind of YouTubers that talk about um it's just you also have to have a certain level of dedication that I do not. That I used to have it like when I me making scripted content, I just don't have that patience no more because I already edit my podcast and produce my podcast. I don't I can't do videos and that and that. I don't have it anymore. I don't have the patience for that anymore. And so now the fun part of YouTube is this, the talking and going back and forth and you know, that's fun. That's not but the putting out videos about stuff all the time and I'm trying to figure out how to do certain things, make sure I'm trying to figure it out what's the best way for me to do certain things that can build money, but when I follow people who tell you how to do that stuff, it's certain things that I'm not doing. I'm not fucking spending a million hours making fucking thumbnails. I'm not spending because that takes a long time. and I'm not paying nobody to do it because I'm not making enough money to do that. And so making thumbnails, making yeah, dude, it used to be worth it when you it used to be worth it. It used to be worth it. It's like, oh my God, I made this amount of money, 2,000, 1,500, 3,000 a month on this stuff. And yeah, I can pay an editor, I can do da. I don't make that much money now to where it's worth the time. Um, and it's because of the algorithm. The algorithm, when you are talking about topics that I talk about, controversial topics about racism in the way that I do, transness, there's too many ways for the algorithm considers it controversial and it will demonetize what I talk about. Most of my videos are demonetized because they or limited monetization, which means it doesn't get as much reach because I am talking about controversial topics. And so because of that, it doesn't YouTube little um the algorithm is is literally suppressing your reach. There's people who are subscribed to me because I got like 12,800 subscribers. How many do I have? Let me see. Let me go to my dashboard. I have 12,899 subscribers. In this month, I made 110 subscribers. Um, I've made 110 subscribers. I have 12,899. So I'm not somebody that cares about numbers. I care about my podcast numbers. But my podcast numbers are I get like 20,000 a month. Um it ranges between 20,000 and 40,000. It depends on what we talk about. It depends on that. I care about that. But YouTube, it for some reason I have been stuck at 12 something for some years now. Um but I just gained 110 this month. So, so it is my Patreon link is should be down in the thing in the box. Um yeah, it is. I never really have a it just something it just never it goes up, but it just goes up in increments. If I do shucking and jiving, and also I ain't doing no fucking shucking and jiving for no views, man. Sucking up to advertisers so they will gag you for that. Yeah, I ain't yeah. No, the Patreon doesn't do that. I intentionally tell people on Patreon that is if you are my podcast Patreon person, you you are paying just to support the podcast. Like it's not, we don't give extra stuff because I don't have a team to do extra stuff. Now, what we are gonna start doing is doing events, and there's gonna be some extra perks for our our Patreons there in regards to getting different like this is another thing, y'all. My politics are kind of I just talked about the capitalism shit. So, how I think about my politics, like how my strategic plan works in my brain. This doesn't always benefit me. I have a low cost of living, so I don't need to be rich. So I'm not trying to be rich. I'm not trying to be some millionaire. That's not how I work. So when I think about doing the events, I'm not thinking about doing events and I'm trying to sell y'all tickets to go to the events. My goal is to get these white rich motherfuckers to write me a grant to pay for it all for free and y'all just come. That's how I think about stuff. I want to be able to pay the DJ, I want to be to pay for the venue, and you come and enjoy yourself for free. I don't want the I don't want to have to sell tickets and shit like that. That's when it gets into like this weird relationship where I think that's what get people weird and exploitative and weird. I don't want to do that because long as I have enough money to take care of paying my rent and my lights and da 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 da, da, I am okay with that. I like to get other motherfuckers to sponsor my shit. Let me give you a perfect example. So my birthday is coming up on the 28th. I wanted to go to Ireland. I emailed some people that I know at Hilton and I got them to sponsor my hotel. My flight, I had some points on my credit card, and so I used my points to buy my flight. So I didn't pay for nothing, and I'm using it as a trip in to go because I have a gig that I'm being paid to go to in Ireland. Because months ago, when I knew I wanted to go to Ireland, months ago, like in October, I contacted all of the trans or LGBT um organizations there and said, "Hey, I'm Diamond Styles. This is what I do, and this is my basically my resume. And do you have any events that I will fit?" And da 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 da. All of them ain't gonna hit you back, but somebody gonna hit you back and say, "Oh, you'll be perfect," and they know you coming, so they can pay you for just the event, and you're already coming, so you done paid your way to go to it. And so, hey, if you're gonna be here, we'll pay you to do this gig. Do you see what I'm saying? So yeah, so long as that's how I kind of work it out. And anyway, so I say all of that to say I want to do events that the community doesn't have to pay for. They can just come to because these rich organizations and foundations have donated the money to me to do to create this event for people. Got it? So it doesn't, I don't want to be in a situation where I'm selling tickets for shit and milking my audience's money to to do that. I don't want that to be a part of my business model. Does it make sense? I know that's normal. I know it's normal. Let me get some product and sell you the product. Let me get some tickets for this event and sell you that. I know that's normal capitalism, but I'm trying to balance that out. I know that I can be, if I was this motherfucker, I would be able to do that, but that's not what I want to do. I feel my politics says take these rich people money and do stuff for community. But you still ask for general donations. Yes, because that if you want to support and you have it to give, great. But I'm still gonna give my content. I'm still gonna give my podcast, which is what I say what I'm gonna do. I'm still gonna do these things for free for you to have access, even if you don't give me any donations. Like even if you don't, you can still enjoy me discussing the teaching and discussing whatever value that somebody gets from what I present to the world. You still get access to it, whether you become a member, whether you become a patron, what you get it for free. And I want to stay like that. I want to stay where because everybody ain't got no money. But if you do and you want to help me, the avenue is open for you to do it. So it's voluntary because there's going to be some people who they have it and they can support. But then there's going to be some people who don't have it, but they still want the entertainment or they still want to learn. They still want to get whatever I give. Does it make sense? That's the difference. It's voluntary and I don't, it's voluntary. You either want to do it or you don't. So it's not like a hustle. I'm not trying to hustle people. That's what I don't. I'm not trying to hustle people. I feel like my job is to what my job has been. I literally left my job in 2019. What my job has been is to figure out how I can use these other people's money to comfortably create entertainment for to feature black trans people, black queer people, and present it for free. That's what I want to do. Yeah. And it's been working. So my way of doing it, it hasn't made me rich. Don't want to be that because then you got to pay crazy taxes and da 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 da. It hasn't made me rich, but it has given me a lot of opportunities, and it has made me be able to pay my bills comfortably. It has a I got a sponsored trip from Intrepid to go to Egypt. um, my homegirl, it was we were able to go to France for like a month. That wasn't my connect, but that was her connect. Yeah, it's just that's what you're trying to do. You're trying to kind of make it work to where you're not exploiting people. It doesn't always work though. Sometimes um sometimes it's gonna be an exchange. Like when my book come out, that's gonna be a totally different thing. I'm gonna have a book. I'm gonna have a book that I'm not giving my book for free. That's my book. Yeah, the best way to support is to the free way, the free low cost way is to watch all the way through, to engage with the content, thumbs up, and share the content. That is the free way to support anybody that makes content that you on all the platforms that you are engaged in with that person. Anybody that you like, you have to engage with the content. That's the thumbs up and the shares. You have to watch it all the way through. And watch it all the way through. Watch it because the watch time is important. If you just come click it and then click off, that's that don't work. Um, Definitely watch at least like more than 5 minutes. You got to watch it. That's important. That's the it's the what they judge you by is engagement, watch time, and views aren't that important. It's watch time. How long you can keep because every site wants to keep you on the site. As a consumer, every site wants to keep you on the site. So if you are somebody that keeps people on the site, that's why lives are cool for me because lives keeps people on the site. That's just what it is. They want to keep you entertained. And so they reward the people that keep you entertained. Um, I'm not in the pharmaceutical company business. They want you to talk about AIDS and HIV, and I don't talk about AIDS and HIV. Sometimes I got a series coming up, literally starting next week, um, about AIDS and HIV because I was sponsored by Vive. And so, yeah, you gonna hear from some I got a cis woman coming on the show who's one of my friends and leaders here in Houston discussing her experience around HIV. And then there's a HIV crisis person that I love and adore her, Shanae Thomas. And yeah, I'm gonna start that next week. And yeah. So because Vive sponsored a couple episodes, so I'm going to have that ready to go. But yeah. And that's how you support the freeways. The monetary way, you can either become a patron. That's the best one. Patron is the best one because that's the one that gives me the a percentage of what you give me. They only take a certain small percent. Whereas like YouTube, they take a bigger percentages. So being a member does give you access to like secret videos that I post. Like when I want to spill some tea that I don't want public, I put that on my YouTube. I don't put that on my Patreon. That's because it's easier. Sometimes like if we have conversations that I don't want public on here, I'm gonna make it private and put it members only. So, but Patreon is the best. Um, and Patreon is whatever you also another thing is whatever you want to give. That's not a that's not a oh, you got to have this amount. No, it's people some people give $5 a month. Just they say, oh, here cuz I got $5 a month. I have somebody who gives $100 a month. I have somebody who gives $10 a month. It just the person gets to decide what they can afford and what they want to. So that's the monetarily. I have somebody who give $2 a month. And there's option where it's monthly, and there's option where, oh, I got it to pay $2 a month for the rest of the year. So they'll do the whole big lump sum for the rest of the year. It's so many ways that people do it. I got somebody who they don't go through Patreon, they go through PayPal, where PayPal, they have it set up to where they give me $15 a month. Then somebody else $3 a month on Patreon. And then some people, it's just when they feel it, they'll come in here. Like Miss Polk do it all the time. Miss Polk will come in here on the super chat and give $2. Um, or somebody will what else? Somebody will who else does stuff? Oh, there's a Miss Martina. She will it's not a set something that she set up, but she'll like, every couple of months she'll send $50 on Venmo. Um, or I'm also we have a fiscal sponsor, and so like if you're an organization that just want to donate to somebody, some people will just do that, and it'll be something that they can um write off on their taxes. So that's all that information usually in the description box too. So I'll have people who like, oh, I'm looking for somebody to support, and then bam, I want to send you $2,000, and bam, I want to write it off on my taxes. So they'll send it through my fiscal sponsor instead of directly to me. Now, directly to me, you can't write it off of your taxes, but when you send it through my fiscal sponsor, you can write it off of your taxes. They take about 7%. My fiscal sponsors takes whatever donations I get through them, which is usually the big grant donations. They get 7% of the donation. Um, what else? Like somebody randomly gave me through them $100. So yeah, that's how it works. That's how um yeah, yeah. Free. So to what is the word when you redo when you is it read something? To recap, there's a go. Recap. So the free ways to support is like, comment. Oh, I forgot comment. Like, comment, and these are considered comments. Like if you're in a chat, comments. If it's just a regular video or if it's posted and it's not live, then the comments is in the bottom. So like, comment, and watch time. How much of it are you watching? That's important because that's what they judge you on. That's the free ways to support. Monetary ways to support is to become a patron for whatever amount of money that you can afford. That's it. But all right, y'all, it is 2 a.m. in the morning, and I have to go re-sign my lease in the morning. So I will see y'all. Thank y'all for watching. I will chat with y'all, and yeah, chat with y'all tomorrow at 7. Bye.